Ya, halo. Oke. Gas Nobar. Esport versus Zeta Division. Pride versus Wibuin, let's go. Terus next gamenya EDG versus Team Liquid. Ya, ini Chinese versus Pride. Let's go. Ya pasti nggak usah dilihat chat di samping karena fucking toxic. Ya nonton Indonesia semuanya. Anyways, lagi menunggu, gue mau main Shadowverse gitu. Underestimate aggro. Iya, anjing. Ayo. 길이라고.
真空炎
無法には法の裁きを抜くな悲しみを立ってみせる
両断する幸せになるんだよ
お守りします
Tidak terasa, 5 hari sudah kita lewati di Valorant Champion Esport.
Why Indonesia? Oh my god. Lawan Valorant Champion 2022. Kau mau yang bahasa Inggris?
You qualify for Copenhagen and then you had to play LCQ once more. It's been a really long year. I wanted to I wanted to talk you through, you know, how it's been to kind of put up with these challenges after challenges after challenges.
Yeah, I think it was a pretty tough run. And you know, last year when I just joined the team, you know, I was feeling good because you know I wanted to prove what I was capable of, and we qualified the result. But this year I think it has been a bit tough in the end because you know, when you're inside a team already, and like there's expectations, you start having some pressure, some stuff, and I think everybody on the team had pressure. Like we needed to qualify, and yeah, so I think it was like a really hard run.
I think the biggest like culture shock for you guys this year is like a new coach, right? Like you with Sliggy for so long, then he left and Emil's come in. LCQ as well, you've not had much time to like adjust to him, and G-Music, a new player coming through. What's been the biggest change? Because we kind of know what Sliggy's like, right? Big mind, palace, all these crazy ideas. What's Emil like as a coach in comparison? Because we don't know an awful lot about his style, right? For both of you, different roles.
Yeah, so basically I think they're two very different coaches. I think Sliggy is a very good analyst, a very good micro, like he knows a lot about the game itself, like, you know. And Emil is more like a structure guy, which like forced us to have some discipline, which like was very important for us. That was like what was lacking for us like for a long time, you know. So that's what we needed basically.
I'm glad you mentioned that structure because the IGL issue, I think that's been a bit of a almost like a meme at this point when it comes to Team Liquid. But the last time I spoke to you, Stream, at LCQ, you said that pretty openly that you said it was not an easy job. Being an IGL is not that easy. There's quite a lot of difficulties you face. Do you still feel that way now, you know, after having been an IGL for a little bit with Team Liquid?
Well, I said it's difficult, but I still think it's okay. Like, the most important for me is to have the trust of my teammates. You know, I know when I say something, people listen, people respect it, and like, I feel good about it. I think I have a good game sense in the game. I have a good vision and like how the enemy team is playing. You know, I have a good like read, I would say. So, you know, I'm still learning. It's a process, but I feel like we're doing good. Like, yeah.
And it's been like a change for you as well, Navera, where like Yampi's like full-time chamber, you played a little bit of it, like central role. Now you're playing a bit more KO, which you did play before. You've picked up Breach, which is now apparently your main after like beating Navi with it. Like, what's that kind of like role like? Because you're about to celebrate a birthday yourself, right? You've been a year in Valorant with Liquid almost, like by a couple of weeks. So how has that changed for you now as well, moving up to like different agents that are a bit more maybe passive than someone like a chamber?
I do want to know about the Breach main, because not many people want to call themselves Breach main.
Yeah, with Chamber, the thing that I feel like on the game, you know, I'm growing in the game, you know. When I just joined, I had to learn everything, but now, I feel like I know like almost everything on the game, and I'm still growing with the game because the game is changing a lot. Like compared to CS, CS is not moving. Like if 2 years to play CS, you guys will say CS.
Oh shit!
Yeah, this game everything changed when I was growing up with the game. And yeah, but the Chamber, I think Yampy is like really aggressive playstyle with Chamber. Like I have a really passive playstyle, and I think with Chamber you need this aggression. You know, you need this, I don't know how to say, but the enemy has to be scared. You know, they have to be scared on every angle, everything, and I think Yampy is doing this job pretty well.
I think playing against you guys, they're gonna be scared anyway. Just know what you guys can do. For sure.
Yeah. Because yeah, on CS I was playing main upper, so I think that's why I was doing good with Chamber because I was playing top. But now I just use full rifle,
I also think a lot of people are scared of you as well, so don't downplay that. Thank you so much, Nodoka31, for joining us, and we'll throw this back to you guys at the desk.
There you heard some of the words there from Team Liquid, Mimi. And yeah, I mean, one thing that I did really take away from that was talking about what Emil brings to the team, the structure, something that I think, you know, every team needs to be thinking about, especially as you have these long, grueling tournaments and you don't have much time to prepare.
Yeah, you kind of got answers to both the leadership issues that this team has had and kind of the back and forth between coaching and also with their IGL. It seems like Liquid is finally at a point where they're sorting all that out.
And Emil needs to crack the whip in this game because the structure was falling to pieces in their opener against, admittedly, a great team in Leviathan.
Yeah, well, hey guys, switching gears. Of course, some hard-hitting analysis, right? GB style. Now, here's the thing, guys. Stay with me because this is how my brain works. You see the size of my head. Feel bad for my mom, but this is how my brain works. I was thinking about, you know, Turkish as well, right? Also, her abilities. They look like So the Prowler, for example, like take a look. See, that's the Prowler. See,
Is it meowing at us? I don't think it does that. Does it do that?
That is. I actually did manage to talk to some of the Riot designers. That is uncut audio that they were going to use initially for the Prowler.
I heard John Riot himself had to veto that. It was
yeah. John Riot had to stop it cold in his tracks. Right? But you know, Kit is like very much at home here in Istanbul, right?
Sure.
And there are so many cats wandering around. There actually, I counted. There are more cats than pigeons. Okay. I went out there.
The entire city of Istanbul.
But that makes sense. The cats would eat pigeons. It's just natural.
This is true. But you would think the pigeons would get away because they have wings, but they don't. What a crazy world we live in, right? So what I want to know, all right, why spend valuable pre-show minutes on this question here? Do any of the actual cats look like they could belong to Fade? Let's go to social media. And ironically, our segment, bird watching, hopefully those birds don't die, to see if we can figure this out. Just want to point out some best pictures of dogs.
Okay, first of all, this cat could be a big problem. We were at dinner with Achilleos and a group of people. This cat scratched Achilleos when she was
the Prowler.
It could have, but there's got to be something closer because it doesn't look like a Prowler. Maybe it has the same vibe, but it doesn't have to look.
It's got the elongation of the head, you know. Ah, que lindo. Oh, okay, but I don't know. They're too cute. They're too cute, Josh.
But that is the problem with all cats. All cats are cute.
I disagree. I saw that movie, All Dogs Go to Heaven. The cats were the bad guys there. All right?
You're believing the anti-cat propaganda?
I mean, there's no shot. This is the power. I mean, that's not going to haunt your dreams. That's the sweetest thing I've ever seen.
Fun fact, though, we went to have dinner, and this cat just rolled up on us the cutest way possible, and I'm almost certain a family took it.
Yes, they yoinked that cat.
They yoinked the hell out of that cat.
Anyone who's not here in Istanbul is missing out. And
no, this cat is not vicious. This cat is not vicious. This cat looks so kind. Look at those eyes. Stare into those eyes and find just.
Okay,
oh, and this one's from Benkai as well.
Now it's gonna fight. It's gonna strike. Wait for it, everyone. 3, 2, 1.
They are apex predators.
I mean, really are.
They're dangerous, you know.
They killed all the birds. That's it.
Okay,
that might be the one.
That's close. That might be those intent eyes.
Very intense eyes. I mean, if you stare too long into those, you will see the abyss staring back at you.
I think that actually might be it. We found our winner.
That is a predator.
That is and I'm hearing the song as well. This is a banger of a song, by the way. I feel like the more meows, like every song should have a meow. Next Bad Bunny album, a meow.
Whoa! This?
Never mind, we found it.
Oh, that is disgusting. I mean, that is.
Josh, I disagree. That looks just like you. I saw a cat just like that out in the street.
Why does Josh still have a forehead when he's a cat? It's like jutting out the top.
He can't get rid of his forehead. I mean, come on, man.
Why am I still wearing glasses? That cat's supposed to have really good eyesight.
I disagree. I've been disagreeing.
If the point of Fade is to give you nightmares, this image has done it. This image will haunt me.
Yeah, I feel like there's a juxtaposition between the two. On the one end, Mimi, it looks just like wholesome, kind. And then on the other, just whatever that evil abomination that we just witnessed was. And thank you guys so much for humoring me.
I'm scarred.
This is why everyone in the Valorant community watches this channel. right here. Of course, all throughout the tournament, we want you to hang out with us because we like you, kind of. Make sure you use the hashtag Valorant Champions and VCT so we can feature the most quality tweets on the broadcast. And I'm telling you, high quality tweets. We won't put them on the broadcast. Okay? Everyone on the
I only tweet.
Of course, we didn't just tweet just cats with a picture of a cat. Is that high quality to you?
That was one of my
the highest
finest
of quality.
works.
Speaking of Twitter, we want to hear from you guys. Who do you think is going to be the most likely to survive today's elimination matches? Scan the QR code right now, right here. Go for it and go nuts. Make sure you vote and let us know who's going to be walking out of this room. Who do you guys think is actually going to stay alive today?
If I had to put my money somewhere, it'd be on Team Liquid, I think. I know that seems surprising, but I think they got the Leviathan debuff where everything's chaos and you can't play against them because Leviathan are so good. Team Liquid have never ever been grouped in any tournament in Valorant. It's not happening now.
My EDG Copenhagen run very deep. I actually think they looked better than I expected in their initial matchup, and Liquid looked so shaky. I agree it could have been because of Leviathan, but if the EDG goes that inside themselves this
right now, she actually does have this like some EDG.
it's like almost above the death.
All right, guys. Well, after the break, we're going to break down the first two teams fighting for survival in Zeta Division versus Boom Esports. And you know where we're going to see you, right on the other side. Don't go anywhere.
この場に雑魚は不要。終わったか。
よし、戻るぞ。
私の負けです。
Welcome back, folks. It's Valorant Champions Istanbul. We're starting our day off with Japan versus Indonesia. It's going to be Zeta Division versus Boom Esports. And first, let's talk about Zeta Division, who are hoping to bounce back after, missing Copenhagen. They want to make another deep run like they did in Reykjavik. However, Loud had other things to say on that day one. But Josh, the Zeta Division team, I feel like we haven't really seen the best of them yet.
Well, that's the same thing that happened at Reykjavik, though. Their group stage performance was not great, but they managed to get out of the group and go on a little spurt towards the end. They've got a good matchup here, so it is doable, but they have to develop into that team that we've seen, months ago.
Yeah, we're hoping to see them renew, but what they brought into this event is something new, something different. It looked actually in that first match like they were trying to pivot away from their former style. They're generally a slow, defaulty attacking team, but in this matchup, they went for the pace. They picked into these compositions that mandated it, and it wasn't really working out for them.
No, I mean, you can see there, they had these kind of executes where Depp goes in, and the trading just wasn't quite there. But Laz maintains his position as, in my opinion, the best team to come out of Japan. Look at what he did in Champions 2021, at Reykjavik, Champions here as well. He's just been a solid performer all the time.
Yeah, he's such a huge source of consistency for this team. And no matter what style they pivot into, this guy has kept up. And that's absolutely pivotal for this team.
That's even when they were getting dominated last champions, by the way. Last champs, they went 0-2, and Laz was still putting up numbers. And I don't mean that as disrespect to Sugar Zero either, who I still think is another top-tier talent. They have at least 2 really good players on this team, even when everything is falling apart.
Yeah, I do really want to see them start to up that pace. So we got a taste of that in the clip, and I think that if they're able to do that, Mimi, as well with the way that Laz is playing, then there's a very strong chance that this team can make that deep Reykjavik run again.
Yeah, absolutely. I think their defensive sides actually looked pretty solid in that matchup against Loud. It always looked like they were in a good place, but the attacking sides just fell apart. They have to shore that up, and there's still a chance for this team.
Yeah, lots more to break down. And, you know, we packed up the Telestrator wall. We shipped it halfway around the world, so it's high time that we use that bad boy. Here's Balla to break down a play featuring Sugar Zero. Balla?
2, 1, and clear.
Hey guys, did you miss me? Did you miss this machine right here? Yeah, don't worry. I'm gonna do some analysis. We're looking at Sugar Zero today, and I think there was a lot of good points brought up by the desk, but I think most importantly, Sugar Zero is still on form too. We mentioned Laz. Let's take a look at this round right here where they completely demolished the other side of Loud, actually, who's going for this attack side hits. And it comes, actually, the first thing we're gonna look at is just pistols. Just pistols, and they're rotating really, really fast on the other side of the map because they've already got some information with a knife. This is going to net them a really fast retake onto this B site, but it's all because of this smoke that just went out from Sugar Zero. And actually Laz falls back because you see the moment in time when he decides he doesn't want to throw his nade here, he wants to rotate in the back of site and actually delay lane instead. Right as that smoke or the flash goes out, the haunt is really good on top of this wall, right at the top, and it gets Sugar Zero kill, but this smoke is the important one. This is what's gonna let them transition to the site, and it's first Depp, who uses the smoke by dashing through. You just saw him on the screen go right across. He's trying to clear the smoke because Aspas is definitely going to try to get inside of that. As soon as he spots him, Crow sends out a Prowler, and he just mops up the rest of the players here because they did not expect them to get in sight. They didn't have any venue to actually get down lane as well. So these types of transition smokes from spawn into sight are really, really key, and Sugar Zero is one of the guys who can do it the fastest. So let's speed up a little. The rest of the round goes really easily. This is a round on attack side, and I think most people remember it right off the start, but they're hitting the site with a KO. And I do want to bring attention to Sugar Zero's stars right here, because he only uses really one on the door, and then this one he actually recalls to give them a sense of security as they walk out on the site. But the important part, not only this smoke right here on tree lets them get in the site, lets them close the door, but watch how he kind of adjusts it late in the round for Depp to make a play. Not just right here, because they're trying to make a haunt play where he can get some kills through the smoke, but later on too. And I'll speed up because the Loud retake goes very, very well. There's a flank going on, the Killjoy ult. There's a lot happening. Basically, there's a flank coming through, and we already had an ult from Sadek as well. So Sugar Zero was staying all the way back in spawn so he could still assist. And this is where I was mentioning this smoke. He just put it back down again, and it's slightly more jutted out to the right here so that Depp can get back inside of it and try to make another play. It doesn't go great, but the follow-up from Sugar Zero, again, fantastic. He's left in a really, really tough spot because all of his teammates try to get up close and hold time for him, but they just don't manage to do that. 10 falls, Depp falls, and the rest of this is all Sugar Zero. He starts off, still has a star, by the way, late in the round, gets one kill on Penkata, who swings a little faster than Aspas here. That's always going to be a timing thing that you can see. But look how fast he put down this Gravo and then instantly went into his smoke. He's going to smoke right here, and it's just a beautiful one because not only could he peek from the right side, he could peek out here, he could peek out here. Aspas misses the shot, and at that point, it's over. And Les can do nothing against how deep he's getting. Aspas has no way to fight back into this, and it's one of the best clutches we've seen so far here at Champions. It's going to be a good game. Elimination is starting, and I can't wait to see not only one of these teams move on, but also the heartbreak at the end of it.
Hello.
Thank you so much for that breakdown, Balla. Now let's go ahead and turn the page a little bit over to Boom. Kind of like how Dominic turned on Rey Mysterio yesterday. Am I right, Mimi?
Sure.
Yes, right. We were all very excited to see what this Indonesian team could do in their debut on the international stage. And yes, there was the infamous fracture debacle, Mimi. but they did take a map off of Optic.
Yeah, they said in an interview ahead of the event that if we win against Optic, then we can show the world what we're capable of. And they showed us some of those moments. It was a solid map of Breeze that they were able to win, almost slipped away from them in overtime. But after that, it was completely one-sided. Optic showed that they are one of the best teams in the world, and Boom really did struggle to adapt off that.
Yeah, Boom got really flattened in the last 2 maps, but I think coming out the other end of that, they realized that they need to give less respect to their opponents. There was an interview on Run It Back where people were, they were talking about the fact that they just need to bring it in the same way they do in scrims, where they come at them with a ton of confidence.
Yeah, that's kind of how you have to approach it, right? Like, don't get me wrong, you know you're playing up against some of the best players in the world here, right? The competition is the tightest it's ever been, but you have to go at these people like you do not respect them. Otherwise, like, they're going to walk all over you.
Yeah, and I think we did see some of that just raw confidence. In map number 1, Tabaro was absolutely absurd. Like, this was a performance that is, like, pretty much utterly unparalleled at this level of event. I think he dropped something like 38 kills by the end of it. Was looking absolutely fantastic. And that's the Boom we want to see. That's the Boom that we saw regionally, where it's just full confidence, full aggression, and it really works for them.
Yeah, I mean, without a doubt, right? You know, Tabaro was a standout player for his team. You know, he carried Boom, right? As best as he possibly could. But, you know, the question on my mind is, right, like, does he bring that same kind of oomph today? Because he's going to need it, and you know that Zeta's prepared for it now that they've seen it.
Yeah, but on the other hand, too, he's doing it against Optic. And Optic, even at Zeta's best, they weren't as good as Optic. Optic are a different tier of competition to what they're going to be going up to today. So, Tiboto was +5 against Victor and Marved on this map. +5 against each of them, +10 overall. So the guy was just slapping. And the people that didn't step up here were Flipsider and Berserks, who are normally the star players for the team, along with Famous. So I think that Flipsider and Berserks are going to have much more opportunity against Zeta Division to get back to where you expect them to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think some of that confidence can be shared. This team showed that they can perform on an international level, and now if we see those usual stars step up in the same way, there is a chance for them. And I think a lot of this was just kind of nerves and also just forced errors. Optic did a really good job of shutting down both those individuals. When you're that dive player, when you're that chamber, trying to take first fights against a team like Optic is a really tough job.
And we knew that Boom were going to have their work cut out for them, because coming into the hardest event ever, this Champions, as your first global event, when you don't have that international experience or LAN experience at all to speak of, I mean, that is a mountain to climb. But they've got something under their belt at the moment. They've already got that first step, at least, in that experience.
You know, sometimes, you know, holding that first L, not the end of the world, right? You know, it's something that you could very much be used to give you that boost. And look, it's sad to see a team go home early, but we have to do that. After our first match of the day between Zeta Division and Boom Esports, we're saying goodbye to one of these teams, and as we said at the top of the show, maybe their season comes to an end.
Yeah, and this match is super important. It's about proving yourself as a team, as an individual, towards the future. Your season ends here if you lose in this matchup. So for each of these players, it is on the line to prove that they can be great, to prove what they can do, because you know just how heartbreaking it would be to lose here.
And I think even when you're looking forward to 2023, there are 50 starting spots that have been in APAC for next year, right? And these players are competing, you know, against each other, against the other competition, to get those spots and to prove that they are worthy. And this is the best time to be able to do that. You want to showcase to the world that you deserve a starting spot next year on the best teams in the world.
And for the Zeta players, they're just trying to show that what they had at Reykjavik, that magical moment, was not just a one-off, and that they can do that internationally again. But for Boom, this is your first chance and your last chance at the very same opportunity.
Yeah, very interesting situation they find themselves in. So look, earlier we took a poll. We asked you guys which team you'd rather buy merch from. Oh, actually, no, that was not. That's old copy. We asked you guys who you thought was going to get eliminated. That's called a pivot. Live on air, baby. And we have the results in for our in-zone poll, and it is Zeta Division who's most likely to survive on day 5.
Karena orang di Twitter
I think
wibu
that
semua.
implies that people don't have faith in Boom Esports too much at all. I think, you know, you look at the matchup on paper, Zeta Division have come third before, Boom first international event, but
Liquid.
I think people are forgetting a little bit that Boom did take a map off Optic.
Yeah.
They're going to have chances in this.
You can't cut them out. There's at least one boomer on the desk that's hopefully supporting
That's
them
right,
in that
guys.
regard.
I'm the boomer here in Valorant. It's
Thank
great.
you.
But I'm shocked that people didn't vote for Liquid.
Yeah, I am as well. It was kind of split very close there. I think that TL EDG game will be super close. And I think the poll is pretty accurate.
All right, guys. Well, today's broadcast has it all. 2 matches, 2 teams going home. 1 boomer, that's me, on the desk. You don't want to miss a second of the action. Day 5 of Valorant Champions Istanbul starts right now.
Let's go.
This is a knockout game.
The stakes could not be higher.
Kalau lawan Zeta, buat Boom, kalau lawan Zeta sih kita confident banget.
Play together, we win together, we lose together.
初戦負けはゼータあるあるなんで、ゼータはこれからなので絶対倒します。
There's obviously a lot of pressure on these teams here to keep themselves alive in this tournament.
特别想比赛遇到的 Team Liquid 的 Scream。
Very excited for ADG to be at this tournament.
我遇到 Scream 的时候可能会比较紧张一点。
Everybody fears Team Liquid. The names, the aim, the everything.
Yeah, of course.
你等着，我们会惩罚你。
I hope you guys don't cross my crosshair.
文凯虽然说你给我比了个心，但是我想告诉你，我要把那个心撕掉，狠狠的把你们碾碎。
This is it. For the first time in this tournament, we're going to be sending teams home. Let's officially start the day. Flip the switch on our stage because our electricity bill's kind of hurting. Let's jump into it.
Zeta division. Woo. Boom. Edward Gaming. Team Liquid.
Four teams start the day, but then we'll be only left with 2. It's now time for our map select. Let's see what we end up getting out of this one, Mimi. I'm excited to see, you know, maybe Boom throws a Spazzer into the mix. Maybe Zeta tries something new.
Yeah, Boom starting off with the ban here. I think they have a choice. They tend to get rid of the Ascent, but they choose for the Icebox instead. It's a very solid map for Zeta. Makes sense there.
Yeah, and Zeta aren't great at Ascent. I think Zeta have a fairly obvious pick right now. You know, you watched Boom beat Optic. You got to get Breeze out of there, I think. You don't want Tebatol going crazy, and also Zeta just don't play that map very much.
Yeah, absolutely. It does mean Pearl is still in the pool for the first round of picks. Zeta floated that yesterday, so maybe a chance to go there. First choice will go to Boom Esports. Haven is where they want to land.
I'm annoyed. Boom have been talking the talk heading into this tournament about how they wanted to play Pearl, and I guess it was all a bluff all along, Golden Boy. They're just happy to float it, but they're never picking it.
Yeah,
Show me Pearl.
Just a couple floaters. You know, give me some determination, some grit. Dang it, that's what I want. But let's see what we're going to be getting here for our second map pick. That will be Zeta's pick here, as Haven will be the battleground for map number 1. The choice should be coming in. Still, lots of options are going to be left available here for both of the teams. And you know, Mimi, maybe. Oh, let's go!
They sent it. I like this pick. Zeta has shown a willingness to float it. Boom has said in interviews that they didn't really get a chance to scrim Pearl before they got to this event, so their preparation there is a little bit unknown. It's going to be very curious to see what Zeta has cooked up as a solution to this map.
Yeah, that is so interesting. I mean, we've seen no duelist comms, we've seen Neon, we've seen Raze Fade. We don't really know what's going to end up being the best out of all of those different picks. We've seen some successful teams like 100 Thieves and Optic there, but as for the rest of the bans, you've got Bind that both teams are pretty decent on. You've got Ascent where I don't think either team is going to want to play. And then you also have Fracture in the mix, where Zeta Division have looked fairly good, but they were playing that weird fast comp that didn't look great. I am surprised to see Boom get rid of Bind, though, because I thought, despite the fact that Boom got rocked by Optic, their Bind domestically has actually looked quite good. We're going to end up going to Fracture, so we get to see Zeta on a map they like, but with a strange composition that doesn't really suit their style.
Yeah, we kind of already talked about some of the woes that they had on the attacking side of that map. So I'm really hopeful that they have worked those out if we do come down to that decider. But rewinding earlier in this pool, we start off with Haven, which should be a fairly solid map for Boom, but it's also a comfortable one for Zeta Division. And then Pearl is just such a big question mark.
Yeah.
I think Zeta comes out with a fairly substantial advantage in this, considering they've shown the willingness to head to Pearl, and they get that Fracture as the decider.
Yeah, it should be a massive advantage for Zeta Division in the map vetoes, but that is using the assumption that they're actually going to be favored on Pearl, and we don't really know anything.
I still don't feel comfortable here for Zeta. You know what I mean?
No.
Like, I feel like this match can really be a toss-up.
That's because Zeta have shown us one flash of brilliance in the entirety of this team being together. I mean, that's just how it is. They've had that insane run at Reykjavik, and they haven't been up there again.
Yeah, well, look, the map picks are in, and we're going to see Zeta and Boom take the stage. So don't go anywhere, folks. Valorant Champions continues after this short break.
Ya baca chat dulu yuk.
Want them. I just want them.
Welcome back, everyone, to Valorant Champions. Oh, we know what you want. It's the Boomers versus the Zoomers. Boom Esports, Zeta Division. Let's bring out our first two teams fighting for a shot at survival. Here's Zeta and Boom.
Let's go, finally.
Famous. Last. Flips Gider.
Let's jada.
10.
It's 10, not 10C, okay?
Blaze King.
Blaze.
Sugar Zero.
Sugar.
Berserks.
Shit.
Crow.
Dia cosplay lo si anjing.
Table 2.
Table 2.
Dep. Meow.
Meow.
XQQ.
All right, here we go. Both of these teams now looking to keep themselves alive in this competition. Gotta say though, Mimi, I have an outfit just like that.
Really?
Just like that.
Yeah.
I can appreciate
Actually, that was how my hair used to be as well.
No, it wasn't.
Oh,
You've never had hair like
When
that.
you were
Don't
younger.
lie.
Oh, back in my early days. Oh, you should have seen me back when I was commentating other games. I used to have flowing gray hair.
Berserks needs to hope that the Jet cosplay is going to give him some powers that he wasn't able to access during the Optic game. Because, I mean, I don't mean that to, talk smack, because he's normally a very good player, though. But during the Optic game, I was talking about how him and Flipsider were having a rough showing of it. They were negative 15 in first kills and negative 38 overall. But they are not going to do that in this game. I'm so confident that we're not going to see them collapse. They know that they can't respect their opponents too much. They're going up against slightly weaker competition as well. I think you're going to see much better things out of those two.
Yeah, I'm sure that loss versus Optic will be taken as a learning moment for them. Zeta is not that same team. They do not have the same systems to shut down those players. And over on the Zeta side, for them, it's going to be interesting heading into this map number 1 of Haven, because they've shown us a couple different looks on this map in the past, but it has been a little bit of time since we've seen them play it.
Yeah, it's a very interesting situation for Boom here, because they have that upset potential. I know that you're very confident on them, but one has to wonder though, Mimi, is it just because Josh it just will never cheer for Zeta?
No. Let me get this very straight. Zeta are winning this game, in my opinion.
Okay.
And they're going to start out smoking on Haven.
He's trying to appeal to the audience.
Zeta Division's Haven has looked fantastic. Domestically, the Neon comp that they run on this map has been annihilating people.
All right, I will not put words in your mouth anymore, Josh.
He loves
it. Here's the Prime Gaming Agent Select. See what we end up getting out of this one here. Potentially, Mimi, any surprises?
I think the only surprise that we're seeing thus far is going to be Sugar Zero actually moving away from the Astra. He dedicates to the Omen instead. They've been playing this Neon comp you were talking about, just with a different controller in the mix. I suppose the kind of idea behind it is to be able to have that paranoia, to have an additional piece of utility and help depth. But with how good Sugar Zero is on the Astra, it's an interesting change.
Yeah, Sugar Zero's Astra is definitely his best. It's much better than his Omen, in my opinion. But if the Omen fits with the composition more, and that's kind of what we were talking about. You have to lean into the comps, and the same aggressive style that was looking messy for them, and they didn't commit to it fully on Fracture. They are amazing out on Haven, so that shouldn't be a problem to start.
Yeah, and over on the side of Boom Esports, it looks like they're heading back to the competition that they've played in the past. A fairly standard one for this map. You get Berserks holding true to the cosplay, playing on that Jet, and a good bit of utility to set him up with the bottle on that Breach. I do think when you're playing against a Neon composition, sometimes that Breach can kind of lose a little bit of value on that stun, particularly in kind of those opening gambits, as that Neon can just be so fast. Get past that. Zeta is a team that's really good of setting that pace.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to Haven. We haven't seen Zeta play this composition on the global stage before, but they are very well coordinated.
All right, well, here we go. Let's get this match underway. Send it over to our board-certified commentators. That's right, they took an exam. Here's Doug and Bala.
That's Dr. Doug and Dr. Bala to you, good sir. Bala!
PhD.
Oh, dang, all right, yeah.
But not a doctor.
Sure. Elimination match. It's unfortunate that one of these two teams are going home because the feel-good stories really, they shroud both of them.
Yeah, it's hard, but also it makes it all that more exciting. Because I think a lot of people who look at this match, they're like, okay, let me wake up for this very, very interesting one where you have Zeta, who went at Reykjavik crazy. But for them, for these two teams, it is elimination. It means so much. The end of the year is on the line. So let's see what comes out.
Haven's the first thing that comes out in this best of 3. Boom, starting off on the attacking side. We saw them really, other than Breeze, they just kind of got clapped in their series against Optic. But as the desk was saying, maybe there's a little bit more life to them here.
Zeta, again, traditionally very good regionally. I think at Reykjavik, this is one of the places where they were struggling a little bit. But Laz has been on point so far this tournament and regionally. Not going to find an entry so far on the pistol, though.
No, he was not on point there at all. Still has 1 shot left in that Headhunter. Flip side are feeling a little bit of pressure come up across the middle of the map. You see them, they're all swarming their way in. The thing is, they've got to be careful because you've got Blaze King who's watching the flank, and
he's ready for it. They could get by without actually peeking him, though. Oh, and the timing works out for him. And the angle, too.
You tuck against that wall as tight as you can there, big fella. Famous now waiting for the pressure. And it is 10 who wins the duel out. Blaze King, little warning shot now. His position's given away. It's almost like he has too many options here. None of them are good. While Flipsider and the rest of the team, including Berserk, are just able to hold the line themselves. Sugar Zero on the site and dead. Boom.
Kurang yacan nih tim Valonya. Oh tidak,
I really hope that this
kalah.
round's not what's going to set the tone. Because
nice opening dari
I'm already
Boom.
getting flashbacks.
Tadi
Either way,
Blaze King agak
the way that Blaze King did that,
nge-whip ya.
very, very good.
Tapi
Although
untung
could have
Flipsider
spotted
bisa
them a little earlier.
bunuh
Gives
KO
Zeta the
ya.
false sense of security on that flank that was going to come unexpected. That was going to come as a surprise to them. But Famous was ready. And Flipsider inside a short as well, just shot him in the back. And we do have a couple rifles here for Boom. So heavy investment on the second round.
Turret cleared out. KJ's position given away. It seems like for now Zeta
Ya, it was
mulling
heavy.
over the possibility
Satu orang
of
beli
going
Vandal loh.
again.
Flipsider.
Really just
Oh
trying to
enggak,
set
dua
up
orang
Laz
malah
again
sama
to
Berserk.
find some sort of value with the 1 Headhunter bullet he has. And maybe 10 could follow up, and they might peek window here. But with that drone, I think Laz heard it. They're going to rotate over to A because there's nothing there right now. Boomer doing a great job keeping Zeta back. But at the same time, Zeta feels like they're not budging too much aside from Laz, and Boom might walk into a surprise here with all 4 players more towards the left side of the map.
10 has now spotted a couple of members this round. Been able to connect the shots that he needs to.
Pivot again.
Pivot into what? Into dab.
Oh,
Wait,
fake.
C long.
It's fake.
Crow still has his C's. He still has 2 Prowlers too. There's 3 players here ready to fight. Sugar Zero with a flash too.
That fault line is good, but the paranoia is even better. It hits them all, and you see the dash has to be used by Berserk to get into Cubby, so he cannot use that to go in aggressively into the side. Berserk tries to go up top. He's pulled right back down. How much more can Depp find? Still trying to span through. The rifles finally starting to do some work for the side of Boom. It's gotten to a 1v1. Laz wins it out with that 1 Headhunter bullet at the end of the round.
That was really close at the end, but Zeta makes the perfect read, and they save all of the utility they need for those final moments where the execute was actually coming in. With 30 seconds left, Boom, pivot. Way too late.
Berserk kenapa harus
And while,
keras
yes,
gitu ya? Nggak
They
dengan
did make
nggak
a
adanya
pivot
smoke
away
di
from where there
bagian
was already a
sisi
stack. It's just too
kanan
slow
gitu.
going around into C long. And they all got C's. They all got stunned up by Depp. They all got flashed by Sugar Zero. Too much time.
The knife once again is going to spot a little bit mid. Let's see what else they try to do off of this here. Remember, Boom invested. They invested big, and that's why they're just down to pistols in this round. Blaze, he's crabbed his way forward. Couple of shots miss. Last is not. Paranoia is really nice there. Zeta finding the value out of the rifles that Boom could not in the previous round.
Clean too.
Oh, nice.
So clean.
Nice problem.
In this situation, that wasn't clean.
That's fine, he didn't die. Most important.
Yeah.
Keeps the rifle. Zeta. A solid anti-eco there, but Boom did get the spike down. The flank, or actually the lurk out as well from Blaze King all the way top C long, almost netted him a Sugar Zero kill, which you saw how he was impactful late in the round with that paranoia for last. So some elements of success from Boom, and they'll definitely have a healthy buy here.
Zeta,
I'm curious though, because there wasn't a true plan outside of let's try to get the spike down on. Then there was a solo play on two sides of the maps. So let's see if the strategy condenses into something coherent here. Already got the star down bottom sewers, so looks like they want to challenge with Berserks.
Deb has his ult. Can't imagine if he uses
his dash. Oh my goodness.
Very good call. Berserk's done. Deb gets the wall up.
He's staying up.
Positions, of course, he's staying up. Oh, Deb finally goes down. They're trying to apply pressure mid too. This round was over very quickly.
Right from the onset. Yeah. That's a good way to get back into it because they maintain the space on the back of them. They're not going to be stuck in a pinch anymore, but they still have to deal with the Laz op. And Zeta's actually re-peeking long A. That's going to get him a lot of information, but in a situation where they're man up, I'm a little curious about this Laz.
That's a big kill too because he had his lockdown.
Oh my god, Laz.
You choose to invest the ult if they like what they see, but that drops Laz, cleans up the 2 with the op that you mentioned just a few moments ago.
But the important thing about that, I think, is Berserks goes for a play. He uses his dash immediately, and Depp has the same idea. And he can't get away from him. And this is a bad trend that has happened so far for Berserks in Champions. Josh was mentioning on the desk, his first kill stats were really, really poor against Optic for the entry player. So the fact that he goes down there on a play that he did have a 1v1, it was disadvantaged, but still.
Careful here, Depp chooses not to buy, only has a frenzy, and again, he has that ult online. You hear the Blaze Storm used for Berserk, you see it as well.
If there's one thing you can do with the overdrive on Neon, it's farm eco, so I'm happy with it, except for the fact that Berserks does have his knives up. So this could still be a very dangerous round.
Yeah, but what wins, a laser or a knife? My money's on the laser.
Both can shoot while moving. I don't know. Doesn't matter.
Oh!
The op beats both.
That's down before it even starts. Sugar Zero with a great flash again. What a good support player.
Yeah, he's playing very well.
That's already 2 flashes that he's found value immediately. And it's not on the Astra that he's typically playing.
And remember, Sugar Zero was a really fun cat to watch in Reykjavik in their run. Like, he really came online. He was a big reason why Zeta played as well as they did. So you've got to keep an eye on him.
Yep.
30 seconds left.
It's interesting because a lot of Zeta's metrics at Reykjavik were actually still poor. They were clawing their way through this.
It was an unconventional run.
And it started at this position, right? Lower bracket in the group stage. It's a good shot at 14 seconds. They are going to get this fight down somehow. This is actually a round that's very doable. 2 rifles now.
And they do have Crow spotted. Fame is trying to cut off the rotations. Find themselves in the Prowler. Forward. Blaze on the swing. The Guardian not initially landing, but it does the second time around. Now Blaze left alone. Outnumbered. Not a ton of health.
Oh no.
Face. A whole lot of bullets missed, but the kill lands
Nice try,
at the
nice
end of the
try.
day.
Call the time out. Call the time out.
Calm and collected for Zeta. They just group up, try to take it really fast so that all that space that Boom gained by having Famous lurk into that site through a link didn't really matter at the end of it. Still finding form. He hasn't dropped that off a single time so far.
Again,
8-1 already.
And very good signs. If there is to be another deep run from Zeta Division, these things are important.
And I think as well, with Laz starting to heat up on the op, you saw Boom against Optic get demolished by Yen. Like, absolutely slapped around. It was 43-6 in their sniper kills.
That's not good. That's not good.
So, they clearly were struggling with him. Let's see if Laz can do the same to them. But also, what are they going to do to actually deal with that massive hole, massive leak in their play?
Well, I think this interesting thing too is it's not like they didn't try to push off. Had Laz been there, they would all flash down long so that they could, in theory, push Laz off of that angle if he had it. But he was just playing that off angle. As soon as the flash goes off, then he swings. The timing's well played by Laz.
Yeah, he's stoic in the off angles too. He'll find any sort of place where he can hide. I think when we watched the first game, Loud was doing a good job of actually making sure he had to TP off his angles first, so at least he doesn't have that first rendezvous to use. But he still did such a good job against Loud, at least defensively.
Man, that stage looks good. Sorry, I know you're like deep in the analysis or whatever, and I'm just like enamored with the stage.
You haven't seen it enough times?
Oh man, it's way bigger this time.
The gold does look nice.
The gold looks so clean. We got a tech pause going on here, gear, which can mean anything. But as soon as we get the info, we'll get it to you. Early lead from Zeta. They look clean. Laz is online. Sugar Zero's up to his antics.
Yep.
Again, all bodes well if you're a fan of Zeta.
It's been a super, solid game from Zeta so far. Obviously, there's been mistakes from Boom, and the ideas haven't worked very well at all, but I think a lot of that is Zeta's responses so far. They're being a lot more proactive than they were in the game against Loud, and that's just 5 rounds of it, so.
I wonder, too, because, Paul, you mentioned a couple rounds ago, it felt like their plans were short-sighted, right? Like, it feels like on the attacking side for Boom, it's not, okay, get the spike down, but then really what's the follow-up?
Right.
I think it comes down to Meow, right? Like, what's he going to cook up?
There's plenty of time still for strat discussions, and I'm sure they're having them as soon as they figure out what the tech issue is, and we'll see. I mean,
gear.
It's gear.
We told you that. We'll take a look at this Thrifty one more time.
This is a massive round. Remember, they won the pistol, or they lost the pistol, and then they immediately come straight out with the reads.
I think the read is key, and I want to go back to Berserk not having his dash to get onto site. He had to use it because he was flashed up, so he has to invest that into Cubby, then cannot actively go into a Cloudburst or anything like that, and it just really, I mean, it takes all of the zing, all of the heat out of the entry.
I saw the watch party there for a second, too.
Yeah.
It's nice to see. Actually, both of these teams probably,
they roll deep.
It's a little up there in the nighttime, so.
No, true.
Plenty of people up, and I think that's probably why Zeta won the poll so decisively in the pre-show.
It's rigged.
They certainly gave them a lot of fans, and on the other side of that stage, Boom Esports is a team that's from Indonesia, and they're coming with a lot of pride. Just so happy to see an Indonesian team make it to champions.
Yeah, of course, man.
And we're hoping that they can perform well. I mean, we listened a little bit to what Flipsider had to say. A lot of the players were talking about how, they lost, they're sad, but they're also happy that they got their first international game under their belt, and they took Optic to 3 maps. The second 2 maps, maybe they weren't as clean, but that first one to overtime, and they won it. That's certainly impressive. That's certainly something to be proud of already.
I am being told by the good people behind the cameras that the issue is audio related. So we'll get that figured out. We'll make sure headphones are plugged in and the whatnots and the what have yous, and then we'll get back into the game. Again, an audio issue that is being rectified at this very moment.
Yeah.
To go back to what you were saying about Boom, yeah, the Breeze looked good. It was fine, but Paul, I think they had, a combined 5 rounds on maps 2 and 3?
Yeah.
Or maybe 7. Let's go with 7. I don't remember if it was 13-3, 13-4, 13-2, 13-3. Either way, I think...
You just threw a lot of numbers at me.
You got to keep up, man. Either way, there's benefit in when you get beat that hard. There's a lot you can learn.
Oh, for sure.
And hopefully they apply some of that into this match against Zeta.
That's a really good point, too, because I think that was the story the entire time of Zeta's run. Right?
Sure, yeah.
When they went down immediately to DRX at Reykjavik, every game after that felt like they just took the power from the team that beat them. They learned so many new things, And then eventually they beat DRX right back. Over and over and over, you saw them improve. So let's see, who's the team that's going to do that most? Because both of them certainly need it. We haven't seen Haven yet from these teams. But on the other maps as well, especially when we get to that Fracture one, you're hoping that Zeta's come a lot more prepared than they did against Loud.
Assuming we get there.
Yeah. I mean, Pearl's a tough one too for Boom.
Yeah, absolutely.
Speaking of coaches, XQQ taking a little nap. It's okay. You don't have to wake up yet. Don't wake him up. Doug, shh. Let him sleep.
Oh, sorry. Bala, Boom's logo. Would you say that looks like a cat?
That's a wolf.
A cat?
It's a wolf.
So you agree, it looks like a cat. Good news, because I have more cats to show you. It's not just the Boom logo cat. I appreciate you agreeing with me that it looks like a cat, because it obviously is. We have more Istanbul cats to take a look at. See, there was a story that was left out on the desk when we looked at that first cat that Mimi had a picture of. That same cat that assaulted Achilleos also attempted to assault Josh. And there was a very cat-like reaction moment in which he was able to remove his hand, but it elicited a reaction from the people that were at the table. Josh almost got messed up.
I'm really debating whether I should share the rest of the story or not, because I didn't expect you to bring this up.
I don't know what you mean. Look at that cat. That cat looks like it's been dipping into the catnip.
Yeah, you were also dipping in the catnip. The reaction was Doug spat all over Brent and Josh. And then started laughing for about 20 minutes.
There is no proof to this. These allegations are entirely false. They're unsubstantiated. And they must stop immediately. More cats to take a look at. And let's be honest, I heard the rumors when I came in, right? There are cats everywhere. Istanbul has a lot of cats. What have you? More cats than pigeons, or whatever that crazy stat that GB dropped on the desk was. But it's true. They're everywhere.
They are. It's nice. At any point, you could just stop and a cat will come up to you.
I think I heard one in the arena earlier.
It was somewhere.
I
think that's actually GB.
That might be GB. Or Mimi. It's probably more fitting that it's Mimi.
Yeah. She'd be the one swiping at us, though.
Yeah, she would. Not safe. Not safe at all. But again, audio issue going down. We'll get it figured out. We'll get back into the game. Zeta with an early lead. Boom have really just kind of looked lost on the attacking half. They did call a timeout. And this is oftentimes when you see a team kind of get slapped around about. This is about where, if you're going to make a change, this is where it happens, right? This is where they find some sort of traction. They read something in the defense that they can convert into some advantages. But if you're Boom here, you've got to find it. This round this half, can get out of control very quickly.
Yeah, there's a snowball effect that could definitely happen if you don't find an answer. So, you've got to find it. You've got to find a way for Zeta not to make the reads that they have been so far. Yeah. And you cannot go for these solo plays.
Absolutely. Meow has to do it.
Why are you focusing on Meow so much? Just because we're talking about cats?
No, because he's the coach, man.
Okay.
He's the brain of the operation.
Okay.
You keep talking about cats. That does look like a cat, by the way, the logo.
It is funny. We finally start talking about coaches when Sean arrives.
I'm being told that we're about 30 seconds out of getting this thing figured out. While audio may not be working for the players, and it's going to be fixed soon, fortunately for you good people at home, the audio is. So you get to listen to this podcast for the last few minutes about cats and really everything in between.
What else is there in between? In between cats and Valorant? No. Go ahead. Find the intersection.
Fade. Right? That was a whole segment.
Come on. That's too easy.
Yeah, it is. You're right, it is. Again, to remind the people at home what's on the menu. Haven up first. This was Boom's map pick. Pearl will be second, and then if needed, we will be heading over to Fracture to close up this series. An elimination match between these two teams. Hopes really at a very high point for both of them coming into the tournament. Zeta has a history. Boom is the fresh to the new kids on the block who are here to try to shock the world. And can't imagine either of them wanting to find themselves in this position this early on.
Here we go. We're back. Let's go.
Oh, finally. Let's go.
Look at us.
Look at that. Scoreline 4-1. Zeta up 3 so far, and this will be a gun round. So investments coming in from Boom. And Depp actually only bought a Stinger in this round, and he still has 4.1K left over. So we talked about the overdrive in the previous round.
The Stinger meta really is back, isn't it?
I mean, it's so good right now. Aggressive again. Look at him all the way up. A-long. There's a smoke already put down from Sugar Zero, so they've netted themselves full control. Crow can rotate out, and this was done with 4 players. Remember the Fracture game? They had this 4-1 split going on a lot, and Laz was left in these positions to do it for himself.
And he seems to still be comfortable in that position. The dart.
Where'd they go?
Oh, he spots one. And the smoke is going to keep the rest of Boom safe for now. Flipsider choosing to use the lockdown. Niptol is going to be flanking in through, and now you've got the Nightfall you have to deal with as well. A whole lot of utility used, and it is going to spot a couple members. Depp pulls out the finger guns, the pew-pews, and tries to find the kill, and he does onto Blaze King. Famous drops 10, ult not around, Depp isn't either. 3v3 for the round as Niptol has not left this area of the map. Now he drops the Rolling Thunder, the undulating waves push them back as Crow falls, but Laz still with the op. Still healthy, getting past the Hunter's Fury, getting past Famous, and getting
Oh
past
my god,
Flipsider.
Laz, so good, man.
The spike wasn't down the entire time. If that's not just a slap back of what looked like an okay round. I mean, you got the first kill from Laz, and then they got on the site, they used the lockdown really, really early. I mean, at this point, looks like they are terrified of the stuff that Zeta can throw out, because sure, Zeta came back fast, and maybe that's why they had that lockdown idea in the first place, but oh my goodness, denied.
It was the finger guns. That's a good finger gun scared him away. Shutting them down.
Not the Nightfall and everything else that was thrown at them. No, the finger guns.
Yep. Definitely just the finger guns. And while Boom have struggled to find success in this first half, they still have a chance to right this ship. They're still, I mean, they're down pretty early. They don't have very much for guns. They've got something here, but
nobody took the space with that drone at all, or the smoke that was thrown out from Berserks. So once again, sure, they cleared out that area, but Zeta doesn't have to react at all.
perhaps a bit timid.
The only person in is Berserks. Again, sure, he's going to get the spike down, but he's going to have to dash out and almost dies.
Oh, he gets away, and he gets up top. That's a big key of utility that we just cleared out. You just saw Flipsider's Nanoswarm. Gets shot out before it goes off, and that's a key part of their denial.
They've already used so much post-plant utility.
And it hasn't even been tapped, Paula. Pop, smoked off. There's the tap. There's the first. Sugar Zero. It's out Famous. Utility. Keeping things at bay for now. He's just on the other side of the wall.
Nobody's diffusing yet.
Not yet. And Berserk is getting massive kills, but Sugar Zero.
Still not halved.
No.
There's no time.
No, there's not. No, there's not at all.
They don't need the utility after all. Zeta just can't get the kills. There was no flank. And because of that, there was no control. And they completely aren't able to scale up on them. They just wanted to go for that defuse in the smoke, but they just didn't have the confidence. That's more on Zeta than anything.
Yeah, which is wild, given how we were just talking about how it seemed like Boom were a bit apprehensive themselves.
Yeah, they missed the molly too. They missed the nanoswarm that was thrown by Flipsider from spawn.
Shorty for last, tour de force up, 12-2 start for him. And it's been primarily the op that's gotten him to this point.
I got this fight.
12-2 for Laz so far. But if you're not scaling with your drone, if you're not scaling with some of the flashes from Tabottle, it's going to continue to pose problems. Laz is up.
Which they are this round.
Dude, look at them again.
Yeah, the alarm bot there.
They don't have a way to disable this. They're all the way up A. Here comes the execute. Look at the flank possibility from Blaze King too.
Teleport's ready. Oh boy.
Well,
hit him.
That's neutralized. Laz is taking a lot of time dealing with this, but so is Boom. They had the free sight, and the spike just went down.
Flank comes through. Flipsider was swinging out to check it. Unfortunately, he gets a bit more than he bargained for. Depp has fallen. Sugar Zero starting to creep his way forward, but you mentioned it. The flank out from Blaze King is going all the way around while the fight ensues on the site. If they can keep their defenses up, Blaze King can make a play happen.
This is a silly game.
It really is. Yes, it is.
They just came right behind them as the spike was planning. All that time that they took, I mean, they literally walked up behind them. The chamber, or the alarm bot went off too. They had to break it.
Yeah.
Unless I missed something.
No, they did.
Well, we're here with it, so.
Laz still has the op. Light armor here. Berserk has his blades. Again, a broken buyout from Boom.
They're gonna fight. Laz is up here on top of the box. Could be some easy shots for him.
Yeah, well, there's a flash there, and he holds his ground.
Oh, interesting smoke, actually.
The second one through, and they're not expecting it. Oh dear, the flash. This again. This again. This time it's 10 who falls.
You should run.
Now they've got the lockdown to work with, and it's going to create some space. The nice thing about this, too, is you don't...
Dude, if he gets out into long C and then kills them all because they're not looking, I'm going to lose my mind.
Paula, I have some bad news for you. He's gotten out into long C.
Looks like he's paying attention at least.
I may need a new color caster if Paula just dies at the end of this round. And they're going to walk right into him. Oh dear. Blades, gone. The second, not found.
Star already out on the spike. They're playing post plant once again.
Depp has gotten across the site using his wall. And you saw him
what a
smoke.
What a smoke dart!
The dart was so good. It was so good, but Laz is up, continues to cause problems. It continues to wreak havoc onto Boom.
They still have an aftershock, but he can't find a good angle to use it. They're at half.
Oh, the swing is not great out from Crow. But he gets the kill. Blaze King falls. Tebatol's gonna do it himself. No, Crow holds the defuse.
And it works out again. The retake for Zeta on C has been successful twice now.
Oh, it helps when you have Sugar Zero. He's tucked all the way down long.
Well, that too, but only got one kill out of that. And they ended up being in the positions that they wanted to anyways, right? Right down long C. The thing is, there's so many players fighting up close still. And there's just no concern here from Zeta the entire... Thunder sticks out, and for good reason. This might be a stomp.
Certainly makes makings of it, doesn't it? Gun round here for Boom. Another opportunity to find some traction, find some momentum.
I feel like they're dealing with way too many things right now in terms of the problems that they're facing.
Boom.
Yes. Laz opping, the knife that continues to hit them at the beginning of every single round. Berserk's not able to find a single entry.
Depp has played well, Sugar Zero's played well. The Rolling Thunder's not going to hit anyone. Oh, sorry, I didn't want. But they've got a really nice nightfall and a paranoia to counter. But somehow Flipsider gets two, he gets a third. It certainly didn't look like the round where they would find value, but alas, here's where we are. Laz in a 1v2. The op shot misses, the headhunter does as well.
Fight a 1v1 right now if you can.
Does he just drop down? Does he just go for it recklessly? Smoked off now, has to take the scenic route. All the way around, still has that op. Second smoke through, the spam, not gonna land. He goes back up top. Oh, if they hadn't heard him before, they did then.
There's no more bullets.
Oh. Blaze from down below. Laz never really saw him. Cleans him up. Boom, get a third.
That was a really good recovery from Boom, but mostly just because of the individual firepower that came out. The 3K from Flipsider. Here it is, from his perspective. Oh, I mean, he random the second one. Poor 10.
Those are always so much fun.
What a cool retake attempt, too, from Zeta. You saw the wall come out from over top of a link from depth.
Yep.
Look for that again, although we might not get a chance to see it. 2 more rounds left in the half, and somehow Zeta's money is broken, given the last round at C ended up just being 1 player left. There we go.
That might be their first kill.
At least for Berserk.
Yeah. That's an excellent start too, because it's on to Laz, who's been so problematic.
It's definitely Laz's first death. First death.
Yeah.
you capitalize. They're scared of the pistols right now.
I mean, Depp also has his ult.
Found a little value last time.
A little. You got to be terrified that you're walking into a trap of some sort.
And they might just be. It's 4 players on A. It might indeed be a trap.
That drone was used from spawn, and it only cleared out A main. It didn't go up long. It barely checked the cubbies. It didn't check anything short.
Going in with no info. And this paranoia could be massive. The stuns could be massive.
10 has the knife. Crow's gone. 10 is 2.
Drive up.
Hear the ult. Use.
Oh
Berserk
my God.
goes down. Devil goes 2. Depp has found 2. He swings around. And given how this map is gone, there's a chance he gets them all. But Flipsider again, the leader from Boom, stops him.
A little mini comeback here for Boom. Couple rounds in a row now. Very scary that they walk again into the stack. That could have been a second thrifty win for Zeta in 1/2.
What the fuck is Momentos?
This is ridiculous.
Lagi sebaton itu subscribe sama saya. By the way, enggak lagi sebaton sih.
Was just so good.
Lupa ngubah botnya.
You actually also saw Zeta be really concerned about the dart that could come in.
Yeah.
So they weren't ready to have that actual duel as getting more aggressive in these last 2 rounds than ever before.
I like that again. This is a different spice that was maybe lacking from Zeta and Reykjavik. They didn't have that killer instinct. They were much more methodical.
Sure. They do regionally though. That's the big difference. The quality of the team they're playing against at all times. And there you actually saw Boom try to go for it. Sneaky smoke play on that B site, but you don't do that against a team that has Sugar Zero on. They try to get past the trademark. And 10's just like, yeah, no, that's not going to happen. Another really early lockdown.
And that really doesn't get a whole lot. You haven't cleared out Heaven, you haven't cleared out HaLu, you haven't cleared out Link.
It's like an anti-breach lockdown. Yeah. All the way far away so they can't break it, but there's no breach.
Try to get out onto the site, and Depp is still down in hell. Remember, that was one of the spots that we mentioned. It was not cleared out by the ult. Depp goes aggressive. Depp gets the kill. 3 on the round for him so far. But Blaze stops it. You can't stop it for long, though. Boom managed to get a couple of rounds together, but Zeta really looks like they're outclassing them.
They are outclassing them in every single way. That last round is the most prime example of it. We'll for sure have potentially more examples on the desk, but there's way too much going wrong for them. And they have so little confidence to actually run full strats against Zeta right now.
Oh, and it's such a brutal combination because on top of that, Zeta are playing exceptionally well. Laz looks really good, Depp looks really good too, and you know what else looks good? The desk. Let's throw it down to them and take a look.
Not the people, the desk.
That's right, the actual structure of the desk is nice.
Very
me,
good.
No, heavens no, I don't even know why my wife is with me. Anyway, let's talk, it was dark. Let's talk about this, man, because Mimi, this half was Laz all day, but honestly, what's up with Boom?
Yeah, I mean, Boom is just booming me right now with the way that they are playing. But in that first half, Laz looked absolutely incredible. We came into this saying that for Boom Esports, their dive players, their entries needed to improve versus the game in Optic, and that just really was not happening. Berserks is 1-6 in first bloods versus first deaths, and the majority of that was Laz getting so many of these critical openers on that chamber. Once he had the AWP on the hand, this guy was unstoppable.
Yeah, the utility usage to set Berserks up is not there. It's too easy for Zeta Division to dodge it all the time. And then also, you've got the nerves setting in, right? It's an experience diff down there on the floor. There is such a difference in terms of how these teams are approaching these situations. Boom are freezing up. I mean, look at this round. They plant in a bad spot, they re-clear long, and then they've got a situation going on where they have already smoked their own spike as well, getting all over the place, allowing Laz to
default, by the way, not for long C. Keep that in mind too, which is really rough.
Yeah, it is really just like these miscoordination moments. You even see right at the end of that half, Depp pulls out the Neon ult, and they're all just bunched up, not pushing forward. They know where he is. It really feels like this team is cracking under the pressure.
And that's it. It's cracking under the pressure because Boom haven't been playing this poorly within APAC. You don't win the APAC LCQ by playing this poorly. It is the pressure of the stage and that inexperience that's ruining them.
It's an 8-4 half. It's doable, but they need to get their nerves in control.
Yeah, well, you know, Boom have dug themselves a pretty big hole, and hey, it looks like Zeta has the shovel, but can they climb out? Let's send it back over to Doug and Bala.
Thank you so much, Golden Boy. It's one heck of a hole that they find themselves in. That shovel is very efficient.
It might be 6 feet deep.
I mean, Laz and Depp popping off. You see the stat. Powered by AWS, looking so good. 7-1 on opening duels. The guys aren't losing.
Incredible. No, but for real, that is something that Zeta had to improve.
Oh, 1000%, bro.
Because
yeah.
actually, the situation between Berserks and 10 were very similar. Both guys taking the most opening duels on their team, and they were losing them to great effect. Both around 1 in 5. First kills to first death.
Note here the utility from Flipsider on the left side of this site. It's not going to knife. I don't believe it's going to hit. So yeah, the utility is going to be a problem. It's just going to delay. And off of that, you see Zeta take a step back, understanding that there very likely will be a flank coming in from Garage once that utility has gone off.
And they haven't used their own utility, so they could re-exec at any point. That's the difference. Intentionally breaking the Killjoy setup that was on B first before actually making a decision. Now just waiting for a pick. Classic Zeta. Much, much slower than we saw them try to be on Fracture. Much more like the Ascent against Loud. Might net them a kill. No!
Oh, nice.
With a great play. Blaze King just recalls the smoke. He tucks himself in, and Crow's gone.
Nothing quite like a top fragging Killjoy.
Manis.
Sugar Zero gets a spike down. This is where they wanted to go from the beginning. They've also got 10 who's pushed really far up into Link. He's going to flash just on the other side of smoke. There are 2 people there, but the Frenzy finds nothing. Can Sugar Zero find any of it? 10 there. All of the members of Zeta are just dying, but Laz again shows up to save the day. Back behind enemy lines. And he's going to have to do it again, this time with 3 bullets, 19 HP. Flipsider jumped onto the smoke, and I don't know that... I think they knew where he was, but Blaze King's going to clean him up. Flipsider 1 step closer to having that lockdown. And the pistol in favor of Boom.
That's both pistols now as well for Boom. So they've got themselves some path into this game simply because they maintained those 2 rounds. The first half, they didn't really gain anything from it because they immediately got thrifted. But huge props as well to Blaze King on this round. I think he's been one of the guys who's been showing the most initiative in this game for Indonesia. And once again, there, the recall smoke, and then the gravel that was massive on A-Link after it was certainly something I didn't want to watch again.
The gravel really did set the round.
Yeah. Recalled smoke instead of the gravel this time. Last is going to challenge.
Berserk has a Vandal. Oh, and he's finding them all.
Spike down A.
He's finding the kills. 4v2 here, and Sugar Zero and 10 are both weak.
2 people who can do some damage, though, with the utility. But they probably won't want to spend it at this point, but they do recover Spectre. Note the quick flank possibility here from Flipsider. Yeah. And all 3 players on A. He knows what's happening.
Right, and nothing to really cover the flank either. There's one of the Spectres that you mentioned.
Enemy remaining.
So it found a little something, did a little bit of damage.
Dude, it is wild that the scoreline is 8-6 right now.
Yeah, it is.
It's 2 rounds separate these teams. Because I was feeling like this was absolutely over. But I think something we forget is how Zeta only won 1 round on attack side on Ascent against Loud.
Yeah, that's not great.
So clearly something was wrong with their attack sides, which I thought were fantastic regionally in Reykjavik. That could be a pressure thing so far here at Champions.
Speaking of pressure, look at how far up A main they are.
It's got the trademark, but it might be smoked off.
No, it's not.
Just barely inside of it.
Now the question is, do they go back and do they fight the flank that's coming their way?
10 has to.
Continue to push forward. You're right, 10.
There's no escape. Crow can get back for him, though, with the Prowler, but he's now stuck, too.
Yeah, he's somehow made his positioning perhaps even worse, unless he finds all the kills that he
Somehow
needs.
10, though. He's gotten better positioning.
Clean. 1 shot. Now they know where he is. Now they know they've got someone they have to worry about behind them. Meanwhile, the spike was planted down C. Look at Depp. Depp is drawn exploring. He's playing a different game right now. 2 members left, and they're still back in spawn. Laz, not able to connect anything on the first shot. He's pushed off the angle. He has to run away and tuck. Dep's still close by. Laz continuing to be the recon dart. Find his turn. Yeah. A little sidestep, and perhaps a kill on the other side. There it is. Dep shows up.
Nice.
0 does 2. Zeta get to 9.
King tried to smoke off Garage, but everybody was on the outside of that, and then the final swing as well from Dep. Just really well played off of contact. And let's see. We do have a decent buy here for Boom. Obviously, they got their opportunity to bonus up with the fantastic anti-eco. And Berserks has his knives. He's playing up top B right now. So it doesn't look like there'll be too much shenanigans, except if somebody actually peeks window on him.
They have the utility set up to control a main. I think off the fault line, he takes short and challenge or something like that, but no.
Well, with just the dart there, you actually give yourself a lot of information, especially how Zeta's been playing the default so far. It hasn't been inside of a main, so they can't break it. They're trying to spam the nanoswarm down right now. But they just can't. They know it's there.
And they know it's a problem on the other side too, man.
And it's surprising that Flip actually hasn't popped it yet. He's going to go for it. And minimal damage actually exchanged here.
How did they get away with that? The setup looked like it could be so problematic, so devastating.
They're set up off the alarm bot here, but he'll pop it to swing. So I think they're more concerned about what's going on the rest of the map since they've been pressuring Garage so hard. And Zeta won't peek into B. So Boom has made the right read.
Yeah, they've done a really good job of building Zeta up until this point.
I'm wondering if Tabata will have his fault line up in time right now. Because there's not really any utility here.
Other than the blades. They were around. They took care of Laz. And they fall. Zeta just cracks the side open. You've got Blaze King, who's going to be on the flank again, and that's leaving poor Flipsider, who's been, again, top fragging. Left to do it all on his own. He's able to take one with him, but not much more. A 1v2 for Blaze is, again, he's going to show up just a bit late, and he's going to be showing up from sides unexpected.
I do like that smoke, though. It gives Fall. I mean, they're just both in hell watching him.
That
That smoke gives false
nice
information
shot.
that he might try to creep out spawn, but Zeta's so wise to it. These tricks, sometimes they're working out for Blaze King, but most of the time, Zeta's so aware.
Again, Berserk was good to get one with the blade there. But then the punch behind this hit, they come out of short, they come out of long, they come out at the exact same time, and they just overwhelm the defenses of Boom.
But what I was mentioning before that hit was going on was there was no utility defensively, so little things for Zeta to react to, and it makes it so easy to trade in that situation. When you're not blind, when you're not stunned, when you don't have to deal with a dart.
Berserk has just made his way all up long by himself with nothing but a frenzy. And the Prowler went around the smoke, so it didn't spot him.
And the trademark's not on this side of the map, so this flank will actually be good. And with the early entry from Flipsider again, who's playing fantastic, this could get really hairy. 10 has to be aware right now.
And surely you don't expect someone coming in from behind like this. Oh, 10! What a shot!
One enemy remaining.
Oh, that could have been so good.
He flipped at the last second. Dude, there's always, I mean, in these rounds on the attack side so far, this moment where it's like on the other side, it's just a crazy war breaking out. And then Dep's just on the other side of the map, inside their spawn, like, where's everybody?
Spawn is clear.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
What can Blaze King find with this Sheriff? Maybe one kill. Not even that. He is going to go down, so he'll have the Cosmic Divide in for the next round. Say to preserve all of their weapons. They preserve full armor in both 10 and Dep. And money heavily in favor of Zeta Division here.
Okay, he was looking at top. I like the one guy on the right with his phone. It says NT.
Nice try, nice try. Timeout coming through for Boom Esports. Again, they're down pretty considerably here. You know, the concerns that we had, Bala, about Zeta and their attacking sides and how they kind of struggled historically, seem to be a thing of the past.
No, they fizzle out. But I don't know. It just feels so far like the defenses from Boom, unfortunately, not living up. And Zeta's being able to execute their plans very well, in a sense, right? I mean, they're breaking the utility. They're burning down the clock and kind of understanding what the game plan is going to be on the defensive side. So they're working it very well. But the thing is, it's not been challenged yet. So I'm not writing off that story yet.
14 assists for Sugar Zero.
Depp is quietly raked up a bit. 23 for him.
Quietly. I feel like we've talked about the cat a lot.
I mean, yeah, okay, this game has been kind of quiet.
That's fair. But there's a good chance this was not quiet. 5 ultimates on the attacking side. Everything available to him.
Let's play. Depp is fast up Garage too. With the smoke already. Flip does not have a setup this time. Nanos are inside of Garage. The link.
Knife into Link, not going to spot anything. Again, the smoke, really the only bit of defense that they had in that moment.
That wall just gives so much pressure onto that C side. But they don't really react at all. They didn't pop any utility. They broke what's that? Oh, hold on, this engagement. Good flash again, gets Berserks off the ankle.
Are they expecting something there?
Pop his dash. Stays on the ankle though.
Stays, the cloud burst. He's going back in, and the shorty finds a second. He's not done. The Hunter's Fury to try to keep them back, to try to provide some cover for him to cause more.
Flip.
Oh, nice.
He felt that. That went straight with his arm movement.
I mean, opposite side of the map, too.
That could have been huge if you got that kill. Because all of a sudden you're pressured on this A site. You have no more control the rest of the map.
Flip.
30 seconds left.
MVP untuk Boom match ini.
The reckless antics from Berserk. Very well may have just won Boom this round.
Last player standing.
It's close.
Spike down.
That spike
A.
though. And definitely. But also super slow for Zeta to react after he went for that dash, got the kill with the shorty. That took so long, and it actually netted Famous a lot of damage with that Hunter's Fury. That was finally a really, really good defensive play. There's nobody else here for Berserks. The ult is coming out for Famous right now.
And 10 had to back up because of that Hunter's Fury, yeah, so that buys enough window for him to go in, grab a gun, try to fight some more. Ooh, and off of that, Zeta decides to call a timeout of their own.
I have to point out that reaction from the Lions. Definitely flustered, actually. It appeared.
I mean, Boom.
Just from looking at him. Maybe he really felt he should have hit that shot, but
sure.
Yeah, that was misplayed by Zeta. They still have so much room.
Yeah. It's all right. In fact, of the 5 ultimates that we talked about at the beginning of that round,
it was just Laz.
Yeah, 4 of them still up for grabs. Laz the only one choosing to use his, so they still have the overdrive. They still have the null command, the nightfall, from the shadows. They have a lot of tools at their disposal.
Yeah, I'm looking though on the side of Boom, right? This is a team that you have to have them pull these ultimates into round wins consecutively too.
Yeah.
Lockdown for each ult. Cosmic Divide 2 from Astra. In order to use those, you have to have the bodies up, though. A lot of those rely either on a trap play or using it for retake. Or a late round push from Zeta, right? The lockdown could be really critical in those moments, but you have to be in the right place.
And note Laz, who had the reaction that you mentioned at the end of the previous round with the operator, 19 and 10 right now, so he's doing just fine. He's getting his. And Berserk's trying to get his. Oh, nah.
Dash away.
I mean, he doesn't seem to care, though. And there's no real challenge. It was only because Berserk decided to peek again. They're going to try to get into C. They've gotten in through Garage, but Blaze King was tucked the entire time.
Drones coming out now to clear last 2. Definitely a fantastic round here from Boom. Berserk's, again, the aggressiveness for him nets him so much value.
I don't think the drone spotted him. It should have expired before it got to Cubby.
Dart misses too.
Sidestepping in and out of the pulses of the dart, now goes forward. Famous might be the first one to go down if he steps just a bit too far. Shoulder taken off. How much more damage can Laz do? Blaze doesn't have a ton of credits here.
And Flip and Blaze are split up right now. He can't actually trade them. If he walks up on Blaze, it could be crazy. Trying to clear out the Cubby there. Finally, they get close to each other. There's the lock that I was mentioning.
They're investing in.
He has space back sight here. But he already put down his TP on the other side, so if he gets back to it, wanted to plant to get back to his TP, and then he'd maybe have enough time to survive inside of that Cubby, but I highly doubt it.
And it was well played from Blaze and Flipsider in that instance to split up and apply pressure. As soon as he realized he had gotten the spike and he could get it down, try to cut off any sort of exit or entry point, really.
Curious as well, I'm not exactly wise to exactly what 10 was trying to do with his no command. Kind of just executing on the C site, that's okay, but usually on Haven, especially when you send them off on a mission like that, you want it to do a little bit more than simply deny the players on the site their utility.
Another timeout has been used, this time from Zeta. Going to go ahead and run that well dry. They still have a lead, it's still cozy, they still have 3 of the 5 ultimates that they can use, but I wonder, money's going to be the issue here, or maybe it's just like a recollect moment where coach is going to sit down, chat with them, figure out what it is that's going on, because they've gotten to the goal line.
Yeah, I mean,
right? Like they're so close to closing this map out, they just haven't been able to deliver the final blow yet.
But they're so close to crumble.
Sure.
It's 3 rounds right now. This game is much closer than it appears. The entire time. And the reactions I'm seeing from some of these guys on Zeta right now, it definitely appears that they're not comfortable. That's why the timeout's being called, because they've got to find some way. And don't forget the menaces that was the attack side previously for them. Let's see what it's going to be. Depp has his overdrive, so they really haven't put together these ults in any sort of massive fashion.
And to be honest, man, I don't know that they very well may invest a lot, but this feels like a just Depp go try to find something with your ult.
I'm out of here.
And of course, he's the first one up. The thing is, look at all of that Killjoy utility on B.
He is targetable with the knife. If they spot the utility, you'll expect Killjoy to be somewhere in the vicinity.
Safe ini lebih berbahaya, karena mereka akan maju.
The drone spots something first. Alarm bot goes down. Both nano swarms used. So they've taken care of that step, and that was a big one. Relay, Famous, and there's the ult. Depp has gotten through. He's going hunting.
Didn't get the gun though.
He's got 2. It's his fingers. Depp. Oh, but Flipsider in his face gets the kill with the classic.
And it's to bottle again as well, to rack up a bunch of kills here. There's a lot of players right now starting to frag a lot for Boom. This is getting really shaky. The lead that was 5 rounds moments ago, now down to 2 again.
We do have to remember that that was an eco round for him, but you're right.
They went for it here, though. A lot of utility invested there. The ult as well. 15 HP.
What a hold. All right, now they're back to guns. They still have ults to work with. But Boom do as well.
Look at this. Laz has gotten all the way up into short with that Prowler already, with the smoke from Sugar Zero.
Know that Tebetol is on the other side of the map. He's over at Seed. He's got that Rolling Thunder. And that looks like that may be where they're headed. Unless they pivot off of Laz, finding value at A.
So patient on both sides. 10 just flashed in the garage. No reaction out of Boom. Laz has just been waiting the entire time in sewers, really not doing anything with the space that they gained early on. Berserk's still on the A long angle though. So potentially go back into B and have Laz flank play. That could definitely net some value.
That's a lot of utility use, man. That's not a bluff to clear things out. At least it doesn't look like it. They've got the Rolling Thunder, and oh.
Sugar Zero just TP'd in,
Yeah.
so no more TPs for him. He's got his ult, though.
Where's he going to go?
Back long.
30 seconds.
Just to get some info. They drop the Nightfall to clear out Garage, try to clear out some of C, but the Gravity Wall keeps him back. Blaze King again with his utility causes problems for Zeta. And he's in the same little ratty spot that he was in before. This time they've spotted him, but it doesn't matter. What a hold from Boom.
Again and again. Zeta falter on these approaches. B-side, not open. That ult just pushed them right back. And they pivot into death. Blaze King with a 3K.
Let's go! All the ultimates we were talking about for the division, gone. The money, not great. The guns, very light.
Fast to Berserks. Already up sewers.
And that was a straight up challenge.
Famous is here.
There was no outburst. There was no nothing. It was just a challenge. And now Depp slips his way in. Berserk has the op. He picked it up. Drops it almost as instantly as he gets it.
Nah, itu yang
don't have that breach ult anymore. What they do have is the Astral Wall. But Blaze King is so slow on the flank. He's already out flip.
Mereka akan maju aja gitu loh karena
Depp has the op. Pro no longer around. Can Depp do this himself? In a 1v3, you mentioned the Cosmic Divide. Flip on the tap. Depp going forward. Nothing.
Nice one,
the lead is gone, Bala.
From 5 to 2 to 0. 11-11. Zeta has lost control and Boom has taken the firm opportunity to snatch it from them.
Spike planted.
Tapi sekarang ini full, benar-benar full, baik
Again,
dua-duanya.
no utility, and it works. That did such a good job to actually take the fight to them.
Yeah. Let's go.
And just like Zeta right now, the fans have got to feel the same way. Map 1 was in their grasp. Right now, honestly, I'm favoring Boom to finish this out.
I mean, they've won 5 rounds in a row. Momentum is heavily their way. They have 3 ults to work with. They've got money. They have so much money.
Zeta, meanwhile, very close to desolation. They lose this round. This could easily be them saving the next, not having anything, and losing the game.
Yeah. Famous taking a step back. You see Berserk there with the operator trying to look down short. He's going to back up as well. They're feeling the pressure. The fast lane, the paranoia, the flashes. They should be able to get onto the site, but what are they playing back for? They're still being so cautious about working up towards short.
Forget the lockdown's going to be here. Berserks just dodged the knife, potentially going for an updraft play. Once this hit starts to come, but everybody's tucked underneath everything. Here comes the lockdown.
Do they have anything to clear it out? I don't think they do. And whatever they're made of in is now gone.
They want to fight, but they don't have the tools to do it. And they're all left on site by themselves. The wall too, they're getting the kills anyways.
The only person who should be on the outside of it is Sugar Zero and Laz. And those are the only 2 that remain. Oh, Sugar Zero swings out. The Cosmic Divide not keeping him back. Laz is going to have to go forward. He's going to have to challenge it. This shot is going to be filthy if he lands it, but he doesn't get the diffuser.
Oh my god.
There's no way. He does it all.
Match point.
Laz tried so hard. I don't even know how he got that
Oh
shot.
my god,
It looked
Boom.
like he shot through the entire wall.
And it had to have literally just been the barrel of the operator that made its way through the wall.
Unbelievable. Sugar Zero had a chance too. It looked like that frag. Here it is. I mean, what? I mean. And reminder, they somehow got a nice buy here. They still got the op for Laz. The loss bonus is strong right now.
Yeah, it's not as bad as
Laz is just, oh my goodness.
This could have been. Understory out. 10. Committing onto the plan and paying for it with his life. But they've gotten the spike down. The knife falls out very early. The paranoia, the Prowlers, again, they just want to fight. They want to leave nothing to chance, and Sugar Zero walks into a crossfire that has 3 members of Boom Esports waiting for him.
They're overheating.
Yeah.
Oh no, Upfield bener comeback dong anjing.
The smoke's going down.
Zerk on the defuse. He's gotten it to half. Again, a 2v4. The spam's through, and it's much like the previous round.
One, Boom.
With members alive, the defuse comes through. The collapse from Zeta nets them the loss.
Holy shit, that was a good one, Boom. With the comeback, holy shit.
What?
Look at the depression face. Oh
so much.
shit.
Up 5 rounds.
Holy shit. Gue
Where
pengen
it felt
lihat
like
chat.
Boom was only in the game because of the
Yang
pistol.
tadi Kor nyuruh Boom balik mana woi.
Certain rounds just not falling away for Zeta. They had a
Fucking
good lead.
toxic seperti biasa.
And it felt like Boom didn't have anything at the beginning of the half, and certainly on the first half too.
The woes of Zeta's attacking sides continue. And something we're unfortunately gonna have to continue to touch on and talk about.
No.
It
Do
is
not
a trend.
chat like that, okay?
It's consistent.
That was so toxic.
And Last had such a heroic performance in the first half. It really seemed like Zeta was full steam ahead. Let's get to Pearl. Let's do this quickly. And then in the second half, Berserk just took over. Flipside, he took over.
Dude,
Okay,
these guys
I need a timeout.
played so well. And I'm happy to see Berserk specifically pop off in this game. That was a key for them. Actually, both him and 10 were the 2 players I was looking at to make sure they switch up their trends.
Crazy to think too, man. Those last 2 rounds, like if the op shot lands on the diffuser, that round goes in favor of Zeta. All of a sudden, we're talking 12-11 their way.
Yeah. I mean, what a comeback, too, from Boom. They were so good. Oof. And look at him. Wow. He's still on stage right now. All by himself.
The only member of Zeta still sitting at his seat. And we saw it in their tournament run. Zeta are a very emotional team, right? They ride their highs really high and they ride their lows very low, and you can't help but wonder in a situation like this, elimination potentially 1 map away, what's going through his mind right now?
That was in their grasp.
It was in their grasp. We'll see if they can regain. We'll see if they can recollect. Again, map 1, 13-11 in favor of Boom. Pearl on the other side of this break. Don't go anywhere.
Nah, adik-adik. Beneran comeback dong. Comeback is real. Oh, shit.
Welcome back, everyone, to the desk. And look, there's no sugarcoating it. That was devastation, a heartbreak for Zeta in a match that they were poised to win and looked so dominant. But Boom did what Boom does, and they boomed their opponent and walked away with the win. I'm Golden Boy alongside with Mimi and Sideshow. And Mimi, I mean, you know, you can even see it when we went to commercial break. Laz still up on the stage, not with the rest of the team. It's very clear that there was frustration, and I don't blame him because that game was within their grasp.
I mean, it's heartbreaking, and it's colors of what has already happened for this team. Similar story versus Loud. They start strong in all those maps, switch to the attack, and it just falls apart. And again, this team just gets disassembled in the second half.
But also, the game isn't over. You got to pick yourself up and get back into the next maps. You can't wallow in the defeat of map 1, and the fact that you let an opportunity slip through your fingers. You can win the next map. You can win the third map. You still have chances of winning the whole tournament from here. It's not over by any means, and to have such a strong reaction to one map concerns me for Zeta.
Yeah, the emotions are always concerning, but there was still some greatness out of Zeta, and I mean, Depp was one big part of it. He had an absolutely insane game, but again, it was just Zeta falling back into their old ways. I think the attacking side was very clear of what was going wrong, right? They have these ideas. It looks like they're going to commit, and it's back, forth. What are we going to do? And it ends up with them just running back in towards C with very little information in the late round and just getting torn to pieces.
Yeah, and this is what's really concerning. Zeta Division were a really attack-sided team, and Flipsider and Berserks did a great job in this series. I said that this would not be the same case where these two players fell away. Against Zeta Division, they've had big performances. Now, we did say that there was a problem with the first kills, first deaths going on, but I don't think
Berserks died a single first death.
Berserks was 1-6 at the half.
He went 5-0 in the second.
5-0 in the second half. That makes such an incredible difference. Huge shout out to that guy for picking it back up.
Yeah, what a recovery that was. And yeah, I mean, you know, when you look at that round and you see like how things went so south for them, it was clear this indecision is something that is going to be haunting Zeta, and they need to pick it up because they're going into Pearl match. Both teams have not played officials on quite yet here. But, you know, speaking of Laz, as we mentioned at the top of this one, you know, it's time for our Verizon high-speed moment of the match, and we're giving it to Laz because Mimi, he was majestic in this game. Like, there were so many moments that you think the round might go south. Laz manages to squeak out a win each and every time. He's so good.
Yeah, I mean, he was incredible in this game. The first half was practically all Laz with Zeta starting so strong, and it's not even like he had a big fall off in the second. He was still doing solid then.
Yeah, he's been fantastic over the course of this map so far. And I think you look at his performances, every single LAN he turns up. At this point, he's got to be considered a top 10 chamber player that we have in the world, and maybe higher up the list than that. And they still can't quite leverage that into turning it into wins right now.
Yeah, something to note as well, you guys couldn't hear and we didn't get a chance to show it, but the Zeta guys did get back together in a huddle. Typically, you know, they'll do that, you know, at the beginning of the game or something like that, but this is actually it again, XQQ getting the team together. This was seconds ago, really just rallying the troops here and telling them, you still got this. That has to be the conversation happening there. You see smiles on some of the players as well, Mimi. They need to readjust their mental because Pearl could potentially be a barn burner if they need to be prepared for this.
This team is emotional, and that can be a strength for them, and it can also be a big weakness for them as well. They need to channel that into some form of positivity to take that loss and channel it into a win here on Pearl.
They're coming into their map pick as well. It's Pearl. We don't know what to expect from either of these two teams, but we do know...
We don't know what to expect from Pearl.
Well, that's true. But we do know that Zeta have picked it. Zeta must feel relatively confident. They had their pick of, you know, 4 other maps that they could have gone towards, including Fracture, which they've actually been able to get wins on globally. And they went for Pearl. That implies that they have a game plan. Maybe it revolves around the same kind of depth Neon play, because we've seen some teams, I mean, we've seen Fnatic at this event running the Neon. Maybe that's going to be the same kind of style, and they're concerned that it won't work after it failed on Haven. That's just speculation from our point, though. It's got to be going with whatever the game plan was. You can't pivot at this point.
Yeah, I think there's a couple different solutions that we could expect. That feels likely for Zeta, but on the other side, for Boom, they've already talked about the fact that they didn't have a lot of time to prep this map.
Yeah, well, some people, you know, like to call them warm-ups. I like to call them displays of superhuman powers because Lord knows I don't have them. It's time for our Aim Lab shoot-around, and here's actually famous from Boom as we kind of just, you know, tone down just a little bit here and reset as we get set for Pearl and Sideshow. I'm I'm looking forward to seeing what Famous brings to the table here potentially in this second game, because as we had mentioned, we don't know what we're going to get out of Pearl, but we do know that this kid can shoot some bubbles.
Definitely. I mean, Famous is a talented player. He's one of their best players during that APAC LCQ run. He's still on loan for the team too. And in all of our discussion about, you know, Zeta going out and losing their grip on that game, Boom are also playing for their tournament lives.
That's right. Let's not forget it.
It's the same situation for both of these teams. And for Boom, their expectations are even lower. So to be now one map away on Pearl, a map that they've said they are happy to play, they're one map away from being able to extend that run and take a scalp.
Take out the bronze medalist from Reykjavik. That'd be a huge accomplishment.
Yeah, you have to prove yourself right here, right now. They've taken a map off a great team in Optic. They've done it again here. If they could close out, keep this round going, it sells this team so much for the future.
Well, we're going to get ready for this game in just a moment. The Agent Select will be coming up. The players readjusting themselves as they take to the stage yet again for a square off here on the new map Pearl. New addition here for Champions, as teams are really just trying to wrestle with what they can bring to the table on this map. Everyone has a different philosophy, Sideshow, so far, and there has been no one philosophy that has overtaken any other one. It's really kind of just been how you're shooting that day at this point, especially with a map this new.
When we saw the teams in this group, when we saw Optic and Loud play against each other on Pearl, it was a zero duelist miracle. And you heard, actually, Fnatic's coach Mini say that that's what everybody in Europe has been scrimming right now. And yet Fnatic themselves went for the Neon, right? They know that the kind of meta in Europe is to play no duelist, and they went towards the Neon. I cannot see these teams running no duelist comps. I just don't think it makes sense. When you have players like Depp, and then you've got Berserks on the other side of things, they just play so many duelists everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for Boom as well, it kind of comes down to the question with that answer. I would like to see one of these teams go into that Raze composition. We saw that out of Paper X. Fade Raze, you're playing the Sage, a similar approach to an Icebox. I thought that one was probably the most effective that we've seen thus
100
far.
Thieves were running it as well, and I think that worked out very nicely.
All right, Prime Gaming Agent Select. Now we're going to have these questions answered here, and it looks like we are going to be getting some Raze for Zeta. We are going to get some Neon for Boom.
This is interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, we see no Fade come into the mix for this composition. No Sage, nothing like that. 10 will get the Raze, though. This was his starring role when they were playing at Reykjavik. But looking at this composition, I don't know if I'm sold just yet. You have some utility to set 10 up for success, but I think without that Sage, without even kind of those more no duelist comps that have a little bit more utility, you're losing out on some aspects, and it really puts the pressure on this guy.
Yeah, it's also just bizarre to see an Omen in the mix and it not being played by Sugar Zero. You've got Sugar Zero on the Viper while Depp picks up an Omen. So Depp is not going to be at the forefront, right? It's all going to be about 10. He's the player that gets traded the best on Zeta Division, so getting everything behind him does make some sense, but it really feels like you're missing out on the synergy with Fade.
Yeah, and on the other side here with the Boom composition, they're going to head into that Neon. They have the Fade actually as the sole initiator on this map.
It's so weird. It's like you want to pair the Neon with the Sky and the Raze with the Fade, and both teams have just traded duelists with each other. But I mean, both teams going for a double controller, both teams going for the chamber play. That all kind of makes sense, but very different themes.
It's just a mix-up there, right? You know, the initiator change, the duelist change, right? I wonder what the mentality is behind it, at the very least for the Sky, because I actually kind of like the Sky in this one. I mean, yes, it would work better with the Neon, but perhaps it could be a comfort pick maybe, or I don't know.
I don't think the compositions are going to win or lose this next match. In fact, it might not even be the talent, the skill, the shooting. I think this is going to be a mental game. I think Boom have to avoid having that drop-off they saw against Optic, and Zeta need to rally back.
And Zeta are straight back in to their old nemesis, that attacking side. They have been dismal with it thus far in this tournament. That rally back needs to be massive because they're starting where they are the weakest.
All right, well, it is do or die for Zeta. Like Okada in the Tokyo Dome, they have to find a way to find that fighting spirit, or can Boom shut them out right here? Let's send it back over to Doug and Bala.
It's oftentimes in moments like these that the best comes to the top. And for Zeta, I don't know if it's going to be Laz, I don't know if it's going to be 10, I don't know who it's going to be, but somebody needs to step up if they want to get to map 3.
Yeah, bring that mental back.
Yep.
It's super important. This is their map pick. Let's see what they can do. We've already seen the comps, but Josh has talked about the mental. It's going to be all of that. And for Boom, they are one map away from knocking out our first team here at Champions.
It's just wild because I think there were a lot of people who expected Boom to be the first ones out.
Yeah, and let's also remember they came from a last chance qualifier, right? Yeah. The only team to make it out of their region of the West Asia LCQ, the APAC LCQ.
Zeta on the attacking side. We heavily discussed what happened on Haven. On this side, perhaps they can find some more success here on Pearl.
It's also interesting that both sides playing Omen, where we've seen a lot of Astra here so far.
Yeah.
As the secondary, the auxiliary smoker. As 10 already pushes the one player out. That's famous.
Yeah, not on the Jet this time.
And this is the same wall that 100 Thieves was using in their game to try to get this plant down, but there's a really cool smoke. Oh, but the TP's short.
Wasn't deep enough. And Famous was just happily waiting for depth there. That is not how they wanted this round to start. And it hasn't gotten much better at all. A 4v2 here, Sugar Zero pushing his way forward. Is met by Tepatol, and now Laz, the only one alive. The Frenzy on the other side as Berserk cleans him up. Flipsider gets the kill, and BME continue to push forward.
One map down, and they've lost now all 3 pistols in this series. And that one was in a relatively brutal way, too, for Depp especially. I mean, he thought that that was going to land easily. The tricky thing about that, right, is you want that Viper wall to still be up for him to go for that. But I believe it was falling. So he just doesn't have the placement of that TP, and that cost them.
Cost them
180 days as well for Zeta.
I mean, the experience, the chemistry that's been built after that much time. You can see how much it means to his team. Probably, I feel like we say that a lot, but for Zeta in particular, they wear it.
Bring them down.
Just on their sleeves sometimes.
I'm out of here.
It's there. Boom is getting loud, though. Every round that they brought back on Haven.
It's interesting here. 10 has gotten up pretty far into Art. The flash to create some space as Berserk is dealing some of the pressure that's coming in from Elbow.
He just accidentally stunned the backside there, but
he's entirely surrounded right now. He's got Depp in front of him, 10 behind him, and somehow manages to take one down with him.
Spike down.
Keep the trades even after the advantage gain. Zeta still behind him. Blaze King was trying to navigate that Prowler.
And you've got to be careful. I mean, at this point, Famous is alone. He does have a Bulldog, but the thing is, Zeta have all grabbed weapons.
Look at the trip as well. It's so deep in the spawn. They know where he's coming from. It's their side. It's Art.
Sugar Zero waiting on the other side of this box. Another thrifty round win to start the map for Zeta.
Uncanny how often we're in this situation.
Yeah.
Once we've gotten to the second half of these group stages, I really feel like these thrifty rounds are coming in so fast and in critical moments.
Nice.
And that's what we need to hear. Every time we come to this replay, if we're not hearing that,
it's concerning. Absolutely.
Back to the drawing board for Boom again. We saw in their pistol round, they really tried to challenge a little bit down this B lane. But Zeta was there to receive, this time using the Boom bot to clear out this main area. And they've got it.
Yeah, remember though, the last time they were here, the reason it was so successful was because they were able to apply pressure with 10 through Art the entire time. Right, because they were able to pinch around and split A. This time there's no mid presence.
There could be an execute for sure still. Use the Trailblazer to clear, and that's beautiful. Already spot the other player.
10 trying to go forward, instead goes up, and Flipsider goes down. Laz continuing to press 3 on the round for him, a 4th, a blind one, a gift. Famous, who has 1 shot in his Headhunter.
Window.
And I'm not...
Hello.
Yeah. The bullet goes wide. The Prime Gaming Flawless comes through. Zeta get a second.
Try to go people watching there. A home invasion. Really solid round from Laz. I mean, these shots right here, nice. This one, after, through the smoke is just, he had something there. I didn't realize he had something from Blaze King. Tagging a little bit. But it's good. Yeah. He didn't, I was expecting, especially after the game, to look at the stats and see a drop off in the second half. He did not drop off at all. Laz was still popping off, and again, he's 8-1.
And it was a, what was it, a 12-2 start for him on Haven?
Yeah, something like that, maybe 12-1.
Oh, he's about to challenge Famous.
Elevation.
BO berapa guys? BO 3.
Oh my gosh! What a shot! We've got to see that from his POV.
2 cases right there. Zeta out-studying them on the angles.
Kalau misalnya
what a shot.
Boom menang ini udah Boom lolos, kita pulang. Tapi kalau misalnya apa namanya tuh?
The alleyway as well.
Kalau misalnya
Zeta menang, both of his prowlers just to make sure that there was no one on the other side of double doors, and he used the haunt there too. There's no Fade utility left to retake this site.
It's gonna be difficult to fight through the wall once Sugar Zero puts it up. Eventually, off of contact. Step spotting the one. There's 2 players already from Boom who's falling off. The Neon of Berserks and Blaze King, who spent a lot of time trying to figure out if there's a flanker here, and there just wasn't.
Crazy how much respect they just showed to that.
Well, when you get demolished on a long angle where you have the weapon advantage, that's gonna hurt.
Fuse goes through. A couple of shots initially missed, but Sugar Zero eventually meets his demise.
This is cool from Laz. The uncrouch. He just puts himself a little bit on the edge and uncrouches to get an angle onto Famous.
That was pretty.
That is so cool. And that's what I'm talking about. Just a little bit more well studied on these angles. There was the same situation as well by Sugar Zero in double doors with his orb. Just knew there was a little bit extra where he could peek out. That haunt used to go all the way up in aim, and they're using the smoke as well deep up there. They could take control at any moment. They just haven't yet. They've been focused here on Famous.
Prowler again used. Laz with the op.
And they forced him off. I mean, this Viper wall is covering all the different angles that he could be at this point. He could maybe be up top in heaven.
You see, the only real thing they had left to check was Cubby. They both look that way. Now they've taken plenty of space down long. 10 goes forward, all the way into backside.
Nobody there to take advantage of that gap from Boom. So a mistake from that not be a problem, or potentially that was on purpose. Either way. Again, an entry from Laz. He is playing so well.
That is why they had to respect the flank in the previous round.
Spike planted.
Because of that moment right there.
And he could do more damage. There's still 2 players in the alleyway. Pinch between him and the site.
Note, that's him with a Spectre too. The flash deep, Berserk has fallen. Flipsider and Tibetol, the only 2 that remain. He's gonna swing out. Zero's weak here. He has no armor. He has no health now either.
And 10 doesn't actually know the position as well of Flipsider. So just like that, he falls as well. They're losing guns, but those were the weaker weapons, remember. Maybe not 10, but Sugar Zero just had the Spectre. They're carrying in all those weapons. Essentially playing a bonus late. And we'll see. Ooh, that's a Vandal. Nice shot from depth. Very, very nicely done. Entry from Laz. This is the one that I was looking for. Remember, they pushed off Famous early.
Time out.
Call timeout. Again, down 3 rounds. Very similar to Haven. Call a timeout, try to regain the control of the situation.
Because just like the first game, It looks
Tapi
like Zeta
Pearl
has
taking
control
note
of
sih
this map. And it's, I don't want to say slightly more so dominant, but the way that they're getting these kills, really, really easy.
Yeah. Very easy indeed. And you can tell, I mean, you kind of question, we've never seen Zeta on Pearl. We haven't seen this map very much at all. What spice are they going to bring into it? How comfortable do they feel knowing this is their first map pick of the 4 that were available after bans and first pick goes through? Yeah, it's early, but I understand why.
Yeah. There's been a lot of talk about how does this map play in comparison to the other maps.
Sure.
A lot of people are comparing it to Split, right? That was where Zeta found all their success, so I felt like we would see it in the playbook for them. And they're actually running almost identical comp to it, if not the same. Maybe with, you know, Sugar Zero playing Astra. Somebody else playing the Viper.
Yeah.
Strike again.
Either way, Boom out of this timeout. Find themselves with a couple of members a point away from having their ult online. And a Stinger, a Vandal in the hands of Flipsider too, who again was the main pop-off for Boom in the previous map. And he's got aggressive, he's going hunting. Look at how much space he's taken mid already.
Hati-hati Famous.
Note that there is no alarm bot on this side either. So if the timing works out well, Flipsider's gonna have a whole lot of targets in front of him.
Anjir, OP-nya las box banget.
It's actually just Sugar Zero who's playing on the flank while the rest of Zeta are taking the site.
He just played the timing so well against Famous. Famous was looking for specifically Sugar Zero.
The flank is on. You've got 2 members working their way around. Sugar Zero's behind them though.
Just got the kills. And has so much space in the back of sight as well though. He's all the way up in secret.
Sugar Zero going into Art, and they thought they had a flank, but they weren't worried about their own. The op shot out from Laz. The idea from Boom was there, but Zeta are just a step ahead. Famous here, he's got the tour de force, he's pushing his way forward, he's made a 1v3 into a 1v2.
Shit,
Sugar Zero with the third on the round as Zeta get to 5.
Masih chamber div.
4-round lead again. It's growing here for Zeta. We've got Sugar Zero's ult online, 10's ult online. And Berserk's is struggling so far to find out. They're really not going aggressive with it at all. They're not using any sort of stun combos or anything like that at the beginning. Which you might expect, especially with that haunt that they're throwing in A main consistently to try to get up in there, but nobody's taking the space. Yeah. Finally, it looks like Famous might want to, but this time there's no haunt. And the Boombot, the flash, it's so easy to push him off right now. Oh, that's dangerous.
I've got your
Dangerous
trail.
indeed. The Seekers there. Clear! Oh, and the first target goes just too fast. They've got the Paranoia, they've got the Showstopper. But they don't really have anything other than that. It's really just now Fowler that's being used, or excuse me, a Trailblazer being used to try to clear some space. Berserk sidesteps in and swings out into 2 members of Zeta and cleans them both up. The flash as he tucks behind.
Spike down A.
But now, Tepatol there to help.
Ready for Laz. Slow in Art.
That's a long time to wait.
Last player standing.
Way too many targets. Dev can't even get to safety.
There it is, Berserks with the 2K. Shuts down the hit. It's exactly the type of thing I'm looking for. And you're noticing Zeta fall into some of these old patterns in this round specifically, where they try to freeze a little bit, slow down the chaos. Where Depp is just basically on site, waiting. But the rest of his team is nowhere able to get into it. They're not waiting from safe positions. And also the way that execute comes. If you're executing on the site, you're there. You have to take it. There's much less places to hide. For that freeze to work out, this is a deep push.
And this is the second round they do it. Tepatol did this in the previous round.
Shit, nice one.
He walked through a molly as well, Laz. That was very bold. I don't think that molly is typically there for him. So maybe he just caught off guard, not realizing what that could mean.
The relay holds Berserk waiting on the other side. The spam actually leaves him world to hurt. 8 HP. Ooh.
Here we go, Blaze. Starting to look a little clean right now. All because they start to take the initiative themselves.
He's still so far up. down too long. You've got Blaze who's creeping his way forward. Flipsiders there. They're so trapped in this hallway, but they fight their way out. I mean, Crow has no good options right now. He had none.
I'll find you.
They've been relying so much on following up the Trailblazer from Crow. But without the main tools that usually go for it. Like Laz. It's tough.
And I want to keep an eye because, again, that was the second round in a row in which Tabletop takes all of that space down B, and he held it right after getting the kill. He stayed in that space, ended up finding another kill off of that positioning.
Yep.
We'll see if they continue to apply pressure that way. I don't know that Zeta found a solution to it.
Here's another aggressive play for them. Initiative certainly on their side.
And this is the first time they really take this much aggression! And they're rewarded with a kill onto Sugar Zero. They have full mid control here. And the gunfire continues to erupt. Actually, Crow able to punch back with 2 clean kills of his own.
He's going to go for more. Tabotel wants the multi-kills. They had the 2 players here. They could have gone for it, but instead, they're worried that Zeta's spreading the map. Instead, they weren't. They wanted to fight that, actually.
Yeah, they hadn't backed down yet.
If they were slightly faster on getting back into double doors, you could see a moment there where they could have disengaged from that fight, but they don't opt to do so. They just go right into trying to actually capitalize on that. Now, it's like Flipsider alone on the B side. But thankfully,
Oh
Tabotel,
shit, lost the gun.
say, took a lot of space A, so he should be ready to fall back in this case. But instead, Laz, who has been on point.
This is actually really nice from Zeta. Understanding they have a numbers advantage and then just like cutting noise and showing nothing, forcing Boom into a position where they can't fight together. They have to gamble, right? If you're going to play together, it's either going to be A or B, but you leave an area of the map open.
Spike planted.
And we're going to sit here while he saves. Zeta's going to keep the lead at 4, or actually only 3. It's been deep at certain parts of the series, but Boom always finds a way to claw their way back in and force Zeta into a position where they have to think again.
Yeah.
For example, that last round where Laz gets picked. And again, body language for Laz, I'm looking at it. And he continues to frag no matter how he's looking on the stage.
Which is important to their success.
It's super important. But, for example, that...
What?
They got the op back? Was it a tour de force? Yeah, they picked it back up. Okay. I mean, that still hurts. Especially when you've just been reset. And then you win the next round. You want to be building a bank. They're still pretty solid and they've got the tour de force, so not concerned about it that much, but that's not really something that should happen. That's not something that should happen at all.
Not at all. Double op setup for Boom, by the way.
Blow something up.
And
in Berserk and Infamous.
Neon is hopping.
Yeah. And it's going to be a challenge into Art initially. Look at this setup, man. The Viper spin to elbow. You can't easily go that way. You've got an op holding Art. You've got an op holding Long. And then you have an alarm bot that's currently smoked off.
They just
Oh! Almost.
How did that miss?
They back up immediately. And I wonder if they recognize what that could be. I wonder if they noticed that it was the Neon. Laz wants to challenge him so bad. He's going to go for it. He's got the angle now. Oh, but the smoke gives it back to them.
And now the Prowler. They just cleared out the alarm bot in halls, too.
Really nice setup from Boom.
This is a great setup for Boom.
Look at the duel as well. The stalemate inside of the alleyway here. Sugar Zero versus Tabotel. I wonder if Tabotel knows that Sugar Zero's up there.
He should, because the alarm bot was cleared out from that angle. Laz, the first one to draw blood in this stalemate.
What did Berserk's go and look at? There's the pit there anyways. He just left his teammate for a brief moment, and Laz strikes.
And
Gets
Laz
him
finds another.
What a
30
beast.
seconds left.
They just walk through their smoke there in alleyway too. Sugar Zero has been doing that every single round, and he's not been punished a single time.
Man, for as highly as we were speaking about the defensive setup from Boom in this round and how clean it looked, how it seemed like they had everything accounted for. It was one moment of Berserk rotating away that opens up a kill for Laz, and once he gets an inch, he takes the whole dang thing.
rips art apart.
Flipsiders left in this 1v3, and as soon as he swings out, 10 drops him down.
Tapi it's okay.
The setups that you can go for once you recognize the situation and where the opponents are coming from on the retake. I mean, that was a 3 or 4v1, so I'm not going to give too much credit, but you could do a lot in spawn and in heaven if they're not coming from that direction. Here's the second kill too. We didn't catch this one. Beautiful stuff from Laz. Remember, I was mentioning the smoke that Sugar Zero's walking through. He's been placing that every round. You mentioned the trademark from Famous. But I wonder exactly how that's playing out. Again, aggressive here. There's 2 players here.
Look at where Laz is looking. It's because that's where the swing was last time. But 10 and Crow save his life. The play from Boom was so well set up. But Zeta had reinforcements.
And it looks like we're heading right back to a 5-round lead for Zeta. To a half it looks like they're in control. It's going to be improved upon Haven though.
Apakah 9-3 curse lagi nih adik-adik?
Plays with a frenzy here. And 1v5, just looking to play for an exit of any kind. And again, the early start, you know, the thrifty, sure, that's super helpful with momentum, but the thing about something like that is you can lose it pretty quickly, right? Like, Boom, we've shown that they can fight back, that they are certainly capable of doing cool things. It's been so impressive to me, given that last map, to see Zeta still hold this the way that they have, and then to get this round with the Prime Gaming Flawless, that they are sitting very cozy here.
I think they are. And even some of the things at the ends of the rounds too for Zeta are super clean. Even these anti-ecos, right? They find the last player. They want to make sure he's not saving anything. I don't think they saw him in that until the very end. And they stay alive. Sugar Zero there taking every angle with caution. 8-3.
Yeah, and 4 ultimates inside of Zeta too.
Let's play.
Oh, he's gone aggressive.
Again, last through the, I mean,
through the molly and dead. You're absolutely right, Paula.
That's 3 rounds where they could easily have gotten punished. 2 of them where it's definitely successful for Boom. And Laz has been the spearhead of these rounds. He's been consistently finding so much.
And also some tenacity to Boom to go back to that after how they saw Zeta were reinforced in that area in the previous round. That's impressive.
And notice, hey, if we had guns here, this will be easy. Oh, just barely misses that shot opportunity.
Oh, off the paranoia, the showstopper through, but he gets tagged up by just a little bit.
But he got space with that.
He did.
Sugar Zero get into sewers.
Oh, Berserk's just on the other side. The Nightfall there, the op shot too. As you see, Berserk tries to take space, but Sugar Zero punches back elsewhere.
And Tabottle as well tries to chase him through sewers. We're gonna have an ult that does give a little space here to plant. It's a sliver though.
And the spike is not.
He's behind so fast.
And he's gonna push right into it. He's gonna push right into it, and they don't know.
Oh my goodness.
They don't know. They don't know. He steps out. The decay starts to wear off, but they're swinging around right behind him. The spike well out of reach. Sugar Zero on the other side, and Daredevil with the flick. The Red Bull clutch.
Keeping Boom in this game at the end of the half. Sugar Zero with a super nice play, playing through the slivers of that pit. But he gets the flick. This is what I'm mentioning, right? All the way up into the lane. Tabottle with the fast flank, though, chasing down his foe. What a flick.
Unreal. We'll talk about 9-3, you talk about 8-4. That round to go to 1v1 to keep this score the way that it is, it's just wild. Let's throw it down to the desk. GB, take it away.
Thank you so much, Doug and Volley. Yes, this game is at a knife's edge here. Fascinating matchup on Pro to kick things off for the halftime here. Let's first go back to a player that we were highlighting quite a bit in Game 1 and has continued to be impressive here today in Game 2, and that is Laz, instrumental for this team.
Yeah, Laz, Sugar Zero, it's the same people stepping up again. He's 13-6 at the half, but in the first 6 rounds, he had 10 kills. He was 10-2 in the first 6 rounds. That is just absurd. His Laz' beginnings to these maps have been bonkers. He was 15-5 on Haven first half as well. Laz is playing monstrously. He's currently the top-rated chamber at the event, after we've seen everybody play at least once.
Yeah, it feels like he just had his Joker moment after them losing that first map, comes back, absolutely rallies, and looks fantastic again in the start of this map. But we're still seeing some of those kind of moments that look similar to what we saw in the first map, and one of them was Boom starting to find some of these adaptations. Laz was making this play pretty much every round, finding value. Towards the end of this half, Tabata was figuring out an idea. I think they had a better understanding of what they needed to do to shut down Zeta, keeping control of Art, fighting for long towards this B site, and they were finding more success off of it. They need to convert that now into this second half, continue to stay on top of that adaptation, and maybe still have a chance to come back into things.
It's so difficult to know what to expect from Zeta. Coming into the tournament, they were the only team heading into Champs with a less than 50% win rate on the defense side. And yet, at Champs, it's been their attack side that's been terrible. Now they're 8-4 up. They've dealt with the half that's been giving them the most recent struggles. Good attack half. That's been ticked. Now they just have to stop the comeback.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I've seen this before. Could lightning strike twice for Boom? Let's send it back over to Doug and Bala to bring us into the second half.
Thank you, Golden Boy. Yes, an 8-4 half in favor of Zeta, as Josh was saying. They've shored up whatever has historically been a problem for them, but now they have to deal with the other area that has historically been a problem for them.
Let's see if they can keep this defensive side checked off too, and their path to winning this map and bringing them back to even footing.
I want to note here too, we only saw it one round on the defensive side, but Maya's good Berserk here for Boom. What sort of aggressive plays is he going to try to make on the Neon? You want to unlock that as early as you can to apply pressure on this map.
You saw it was very rarely mixed in on Haven too with his Jet. So they want to lean into it too much. This challenge, Sugar Zero has the one way, but it's too late. But it's there for Crow.
Berserk manages to find two with the Frenzy. And that was dry. They just swung out.
Immediately also using that lineup. The same orb that Sugar Zero was putting down in 10's trying to capitalize on the same space.
Betrayed by the sliver in the door, and now the nade. Flipsider has to swing in. The Ghost cleans up 10.
Somehow this is even. Laz taking so much space in the club though.
Spike is going to work its way up. In through Link towards B. And you've got Laz who's going to be on the flank. Dep is back in Secret, back in Dugout on the opposite side of the map. They're going to get the spike down. How do they play this?
Planning for spawn. Going to give them possibility here of 2v1ing Dep if he comes through that direction. But it looks like he wants to group up and take through alleyway instead.
I don't know, Laz. How many shots? He has 4 shots of the Headhunter left.
That's plenty for Laz. He's so slow on long B though.
It's just no info of anything. No knowledge. Dap on the swing. He gets spammed through the smoke. It all falls onto Laz again. Can he do it for Zeta? Can he net them a pistol? It seems unlikely, and yeah, there's no way you check that ratty little corner, right?
No time even.
Goal! 1, but that's all it was. Flipsider with the 3rd. Boom wins, I believe, the 4th pistol of the series.
All 4 pistols. All 4 pistols. And remember, Haven, they brought it back specifically because of the 2nd round pistol. Different halves.
But so far, same story. So far, the exact same story.
Almost identical. I think Zeta definitely had a big chance after 10 makes this play.
I absolutely agree with you.
Let's see if they can really rally something together like they've been able to on certain.
But it was all off of thrifty rounds, Ball. I think that's the concern.
Well, every 2nd round, they put something together.
Bring them down.
Or being taken, Prowler through, clearing the backside of this wall. So there's no more concern, only Laz after theirs.
That's gonna help, but Berserk with the Vandal trades it back. And that was the main oomph behind this punch. Sugar Zero's falling, Crow does too.
Spike down, B.
And it doesn't seem like there are gonna be any thrifty antics this time around. 10's left alone, and he falls.
Back down to 2 round difference.
Nice round.
And they keep 3 rifles on the side of Boom.
That's a lot. Remember, they went for the same thing. on that second round of the entire series, and it hurt them so bad. Look at the chances they're going to have. They're mostly on even footing against the bonus attempt from Zeta. 3 rifles, and there's a cheeky judge as well.
Where is that cheeky judge going to go?
On the attack side.
Yeah, maybe through double doors to fight Link.
Oh, they swapped it.
Where are you?
Swapped it to a Spectre.
There's some pace, there's some aggression. The paranoia out from Tipitol, and then the swing out from Berserk finds him a kill.
Double time through both the left and right side of mid. To Art and to Ali.
Shadows traveling.
With mixed success, but there you go from Flip. They're picking them apart now.
Yeah, man, they have full sight control here. And again, this is I hate to harken back to this, but it's important because we've seen this story before.
Yeah.
BME took control of Haven at this very round.
Exactly. 3 rounds in a row possible now here. Laz and Crow have to put something together. Crow coming in through Art, Laz through Spawn. Walking up Secret.
But they have to get through the Viper's
Does
pit.
this pit also cover up to Bottle's position on top of Dugout Edge? No, he's all the way in the corner. Spammable.
But now Laz's position given away. Crow is crept in. They're going to flash right through on the other side. Crow trying to find the kills. He finds 1, he finds 2. He's got it down to a 1v1. Templeton just on the other side, just has to delay. And he gets the kill he's looking for. Economy for Zeta, busted.
Boom has made it already to within 1. We're looking at a very identical situation.
Apa iya nggak jadi
But the difference this time is it's much earlier here for Boom. To Bottle leading the charge on this map.
Nice! Go!
Mentally, you try your hardest to forget about Haven. But how do you ignore that voice in the back of your head?
Flash up, 3 players to swing through. Oh my goodness.
Note here, they only had 1 Spectre in this round. Everything else was Sheriffs and a Classic.
Imagine if the Spectre was there. That could have been so terrible for Boom.
Yeah, that would be devastating. Tevatol getting the spike down. Zeta outnumbered. And they're looking to push their way forward. Into Secret, into Laz's lap. Tries to jump into window. Tevatol glad to reposition. Glad to take this fight again. The Headhunter not finding anything.
He just switched away from Sugar Zero. He was coming to his aid.
Laz has gone quiet.
Nice shot, Sugar Zero.
Who steps up? Who steps up on the side of Zeta? Who's the spark? Who's the catalyst to swing momentum back their way? Is it Crow? It's not Sugar Zero in this round, and it's not Crow either. We're tied at 8. The lead, once again, gone.
In the last map, it took all the way to 11-11 for Boom to tie it up. Here,
dari 4-8.
It's so much earlier.
Girls sekarang nih ceritanya.
In the second half, reminiscent so far of the really poor half that we had from Zeta against Loud. Boom, taking the experience they got through with Optic and showing off that they've learned so much from that series.
10 just went so aggressively down long. He's got the showstopper. I don't think he's going to have much of a contest, while Laz finds value on the opposite side of the map.
He just pushed up Art and took the fight to top mid.
Space given right back by 10. He's already used a Roomba. That timing could not have been better.
Look at this Trailblazer from Crow. He just used it all the way from sewer side, in through double doors and cleared middle.
They're going to go B. Remember, 10 has a showstopper.
With Laz's aggression on the A main, they've got a great idea here. 10 with the showstopper. The Seekers are going to confirm. He can swing with this easily.
But do they commit? They have 55 seconds. There's still plenty of time to flip this map back.
That just bought so much time for the fuel of Sugar Zero right now. If they want to commit, they're going to have to get Decayed.
Keep an eye on Blaze King, waiting just outside double doors. They're continuing to creep forward. They're going to commit to it. The flash is there. Is that what throws him back? No. They're going to continue to persist on this. Blaze King is going to continue to work his way up. Now B-Link.
Crows checking it every so often. But it could strike fast. He's leaving it right now.
And he has utility. Crow on the peak. The paranoia is there, but the flash keeps him back. And now you've got the showstopper up top. One goes down. Flipsider does two. Zeta have cracked the site open.
Kept the spike in their control. On their side of the wall now, too. And boom, just when they thought they had their hands around the scoreline. Zeta respond.
What a hold. Again, off the showstopper, finding value off of the delay that you mentioned. There was so much there that allowed them to rotate back towards B in conjunction with Laz having space on elbow. They knew the hit wasn't going to go that way, so they could lean B.
And to note, too, Laz getting aggressive that round. That's the type of agency that we've been missing from Zeta all along. Only one player on the opposite side of the map right now for Boom. They might want to take this A main very fast. Here comes the Nightfall. They're going straight for it.
That's exactly what they're doing. They've invested in Paranoia, they've invested the Nightfall, and now the Overdrive too, but the counter Paranoia is going to keep him back. The Prowler is going to spot onto 10. They continue to push forward, though. Look at how deep Toll is. He's already gotten his way into Secret, and so far his presence is kept quiet. But Laz with the op shot stops it. They've gotten the spike down. If Sugar Zero can get up into Spike, into site, excuse me, he can use the Viper's Pit, and there it is.
Clear the site.
And Blaze King is the only one who's up. Do they know that he's there? They don't know that he's there! He gets one! He gets two!
Dua coy!
He was the linchpin! And he was never taken care of.
Shit. Wah, shit. Ganas buat silas aja.
And it's a brutal reset. Boom. Forced the economy from Zeta to start back at square one. Laz loses his op. He's got the tour de force still around they can play in. They're going to call a timeout. Look at this play from Tabata. He just used his ult instantly after the smokes went down on Art. And just stuck it. Everybody trying to hold from Zeta way up close. And there's nobody inside of A main, because they're just running away from the early presence from Boom. There was so much thrown at the beginning of that round. What a call from flip side of the IGL.
To go and to go fast. To go with intention, to go with purpose.
You've just seen 2 rounds back to back where the IGLs have called fantastic setups and executes. So we're starting to get to that point where both sides maybe understand the game very well and how their opposition wants to play. Round 19. 4 rounds to close out for either side.
But you look at the timeline, Ball, and you go, they've won 6 of the last 7 rounds. Yes, it may be 9-9, but be hard-pressed not to tell me that momentum is in Boom's camp.
And don't forget, it was timing as well. Boom, who set the tone of that other round. It was so slow from them. Zeta capitalized, fantastic, yes, but if the speed stays up the way that it is, there's no shot that Zeta continues to grasp this like they have. Love that early peek from Laz.
Yeah.
Instantly wants to go back and make sure that he has control still of long.
Yep, no early challenge mid. Cool. Go back and check B, as you're saying.
But look at how they're marking the B site right now. Boom. They've heard where Laz TP'd to and from. So they immediately walk away from him. Problem for them, though, is they don't have that same dive that they had last round if they want to hit this A site. 10's going to be here. Dep's going to be here. Crow's going to be here. And he's just cleared middle, too. So they know the split is not coming within the next 10 seconds.
You got to note, though, flip side.
They just left. They just left after that dog.
Oh, no.
It's all 10 now.
He's pushed off. He's paranoid. He tries to drop a satchel to keep him back. His position given away too. He tried to find safety, but he wasn't able to. They've fully taken A, and they're looking for more. Look at how deep Famous is.
Just behind him.
And Depp has no idea. He just got taken care of execution style.
This smoke should fade soon. Laz will have a gap inside of it. Sugar Zero wants to come from the other side. If they show Laz,
yeah, but he's got.
And this flank could come really hard. Famous has to be super, super smart here.
Laz has to find value with that Tour de Force.
Has to show himself.
Yeah, the second smoke used.
Teleport's ready.
Is he the tip of the spear? Is he the first one who shows into a crossfire like that? He is the one who shows.
Nice.
And BME take care of both.
Nice. Teh botol, teh botol.
There's no shot.
MVP lagi teh botol. Let's go.
Scrape together a goodbye.
I mean, yeah, it's almost foregone at this point. You're likely looking at 11-9 here.
And again, 3 rounds potentially in a row for Boom. But this is where that Zeta magic strikes. I just don't think it exists when you're facing off against these Indonesians of Boom.
I'll find you.
Fast again.
Same
Paranoia
strat.
out, yeah.
Ball out from Berserks, he's got his ult.
But that's a really nice paranoia to delay into counter, and then the nade too to keep him back. That's well handled by Zeta, but do they double down? Now you've taken care of 10, you've taken care of Crow 2. Every single fight going in favor of Boom.
I think Depth's not even able to enter that fight because he gets flashed from Crow 2 and they've called the site as open. Yep. Foregone conclusion indeed.
Nice! Go, Boom, go!
Nothing there from Zeta. Boom are starting to look unstoppable, at least for Zeta Division.
Prime Gaming Falls comes through. You can hear the pop-off from the stage. The Boom guys, they're feeling it right now, man.
And they should be. Another 3 rounds in a row for what started a fantastic half from them.
What a swing.
Don't forget, the first half is 8-4 in Zeta's favor.
Nice, come on, nice, flawless.
Even XQQ.
Dejected.
This is now 4 maps in a row where Zeta has lost the lead at the half.
And they're going to hit the exact same pace, the exact same hit, because, well, Bala, if it's not broken, don't try to fix it. Remember, they did a really good job of delaying here previously. This time, Depp has held on to the paranoia.
Going to old tricks here for Zeta Division. 4 players on the A site. That's where Boom has led over and over.
But it's interesting too, remember in the previous round, while they made all that noise A, Flipsider got into B by himself and they rotated off. This time Zeta seemed a step ahead of it. They're rotating off of A sooner.
Well, there was also the prior round too where Zeta over-rotated off of information that they saw nothing mid. This time Laz is going to be patient on the site though. But Boom also taking the fight a little differently. They're going to go for a split on the safe side.
And there is an alarm out there, but I want to say it was
Walled
just
it off.
smoked off. And it was walled off too, just to be safe. Note that Sugar Zero's on the flank.
They just re-smoked, so they know the possibility now.
Flipsider's working into B again, and you've got Blaze controlling them. What? They're applying pressure everywhere.
Here comes the flank.
Oh, fucking nice.
And the spike ults out. The spike ults B. They're gonna get the spike down.
While Laz might have still held on to the initial push from Flipsider, they've got the site now.
What a play. But Zeta may have spread themselves a bit, or excuse me, BME may have spread themselves a bit too thin.
There.
Yeah, they got the spike down.
It's planted for Famous here. If you get Sugar Zero down, there's definitely a room for this op to do, or this long range to do something.
Shit. Okay, nice.
Spams the pings. It's gonna, yeah, man, that
That's
Tour de
right,
Force,
that's
they
right.
used it. They
Let's
knew
go,
what
let's
the
go.
plan was.
2 more win, 2 more win.
Ball, it really felt like they spread themselves too thin.
Yeah,
I like what they were doing. It just didn't work out.
That push from Tabata certainly ill-advised, right? He's so far ahead of his team. They're getting the spike down. Or he got the spike down and wants to hold on to space while the rest of his team is rotating. But that just lost them. I mean, it was a 3v4 already. He wants to fight back into it. Maybe it's the percentage play.
There.
But no value out of it. And Zeta giving up that 4-1. They're swapping Laz on the other side right now. And he's going to stay up on the angle, which might actually work out if they end up coming over here.
10 went fast down long again. Berserk swings out in the link and he gets destroyed.
Good flash from Sugar Zero as well to give time for Crow to play this Trailblazer. Sugar Zero's here.
Yimmy are in trouble, man. Mid is really the only way they have to go, and Dep's waiting on the other side. No paranoia. And they walk right into him. The Nightfall doesn't even hit him, so they don't know he's there. The gun barrel betrays him.
Flawless.
A Prime Gaming fall is out from Zeta's. Dep gets 3.
A fantastic round from Dep. The flash to delay to buy some time for Crow, and then he's there in time for the push on Art.
Face your fear.
The Molly as well. Sugar Zero and Dep played as a unit in this round.
And Dep does not get those 2 kills if the Nightfall hits him. But we're talking pixels, bro, where it doesn't hit him. That's crazy.
And we're at the same exact situation. All the way down to round 23 right now, 11-11. And we're all tied up. Quiet response there from Zeta too. You expect them to be trying to get back into this emotionally. But they're focused, super focused right now on maintaining the ideas, on thinking about what the counters are to Boom. Who, you saw 3 rounds in a row where they go for that A-side push, and they've given up on it. They've completely given up on it.
Last 2 rounds going in favor of Zeta, keeping them in this game. The timeline tells the entire story. It really does. But Zeta hanging on for dear life in this tournament. And op in the hands of Laz.
Go, go, go.
Where does he challenge? It looks like he's going to go A first. 10 likely going to take aggressive space down B long again.
It's a mix of that A-side execute and some other control. Flip side, it took so much damage already to 10's nade.
The Prowler didn't reach Laz. Berserk going in. He's gotten in. The spike has not yet. Laz has to reposition. Famous falls. Zeta have somehow kept this back. And once again, it's just Blaze King up by himself. Look at how far, I mean, he is on an island right now. And they're surrounded.
Laz is taking great pains to make sure Secret and the alleyway is clear.
This ult very well may be the difference maker.
3v5. 10's coming behind it though, and he has a nade still.
You gotta move fast here, man. The spike's been down for a little while. You've gotta up the pace. Dep weak. Tebatal waiting on the other side. The Viper spits down. And Zeta continue to keep Boom Esports back.
Match point. Ayo Boom, jangan
point
Boom.
For them. Swap the spike defuse on the 10-2. He's got his ult for this very, very important round.
Match point.
Boom. 1 round away from making it to match point themselves, but instead they'll fight for overtime. Come on. That's how the pit falls to Sugar Zero. Blind fire.
You mentioned it. Focused. The pop-offs that we're hearing, much more muted.
Yep.
Eyes on the prize. Zeta 1 point away from taking us to Fracture.
They're just going right back for it again. 10's ulting in Art right now. Potentially trying to satchel up. Either way, they're coming right back into it. It's not going to net anything, but they slow down. They can't use everything that they originally did, and even adding the Viper wall into this execute now.
Yeah, I wonder if that's what it was, if he was trying to hit something through a window or something, because he did use 1 satchel before that. Either way, Showstopper no longer around. And they've got Dep with an op here. They've got Laz with an op too.
And Dep's taking a really nice angle. Remember that round where the opponents went for the double op? Oh my goodness, they're locking down this A side.
He just switched to the Vandal.
This might force Boom. They're going to potentially try to pinch here. I was thinking they might have to go into Laz.
No, No, they're going to fully commit to this. The haunt into the pit. Famous behind it.
Hello, Deb.
The flash there. Position given away. Famous has to step back. They're going to go into Laz.
They're going into Laz, but look at the position of flip.
Oh, no.
Crow is aware.
Again.
But not that aware. I don't think he actually confirmed his position. This fight could come at any moment. Laz is completely alone.
Laz has to hold the line. He has to stand by himself. He's taking care of Neon. But you've got to keep an eye on the flank! Flipsider finds it!
They're still not through the wall, Doug.
10 seconds left. They've got to get the spike down. 10. Rotating around. Everyone is being flanked upon here with 5 seconds. Laz holds them back!
Oh my God.
Laz with the ace! And Laz takes us to Fracture!
Aduh,
the guy who looked absolutely downtrodden after their loss just shuts down the entire game. And it's all smiles now. Because, oh, baby, we've got a map 3. All kills. Let's see him from Laz's perspective here. This is the second one. It's about to went for a TP. Oh, my goodness. Shuts down the spike. And then the last 2 late through alley. I've seen that before, man.
But again, bro, no wild pop-off.
Dude. Shades of Zeta versus Fnatic. Laz versus Fnatic on Icebox.
We found ourselves at the exact same juncture in which Zeta collapsed on Haven. And I don't know what it was, but they found something special. They found something different to take us to Fracture. And I've got to remind everyone at home, Boom Esports on Fracture got obliterated. Now, mind you, yes, that was at the hands of Optic, but that doesn't mean the beating wasn't any better.
Sure. But I also have to remind you as well, it was kind of the same thing for Zeta against Loud on Fracture. They went for such an unorthodox comp. And it was so antithetical to their style.
And it was their defensive half that was better. That's what got them to a decent spot. I think it was 17 or 7-5, and then they lost 13-8. Something along those lines. Either way, their defense looked great, but you're right, their attack did not. I wonder if they could keep relying on that Neon comp or if they switch things up.
Yeah. What started out, remember the tone that we set on this beginning of the game was wild, all over the place. And it's now here, 2 13-11s. We're going to map 3.
He did tell me this morning that this series was going to be a banger.
Dude, somebody's getting eliminated after map 3, after Fracture.
It's going to be good. Again, map 1 in favor of Boom. Map 2 in favor of Zeta. We're headed to Fracture. We'll be right back.
you think about closing out a game, that's how you do it in emphatic fashion. Laz managed to claw Zeta Division into Game 3. What a closeout that was here as we discuss what we just saw on Pearl between Boom Esports and Zeta Division. Golden Boy here alongside with Mimi as well as Sideshow. And let's just actually jump right into this, Mimi, talk about the breakdown of that game, right? MVPs across the board. I feel like everyone had a hero moment to some degree. What a match that was.
I mean, it was looking like history was going to come back for the very fourth time for this team, right? Like, they have a tendency to look good, start strong, and let that second half slip away, but they save it at the very final hour. And for Zeta, the biggest part of that was Laz. We thought he would be boomed after that first map, after letting that slip away, but he came in and was so awake for this team.
Yeah, Laz is playing fantastically. We'll show you that ace in a second, but I just want to talk about how bad Zeta have been in those second half, because that's where all of the frustration is coming from. At Champions, they have a 26% win rate in second halves. They are putting up like 3 rounds in the second half as an average. That is dreadful. You just can't win games like this, and it was a miracle, in my opinion, that Zeta were able to claw this one away. Thanks to Laz.
Yeah, and it's not even necessarily like, oh, they have a terrible attack or they have a terrible defense or it's one specific thing. It feels like it is very much a mental block.
It is.
Where they get to that second half and they just can never close out.
Yeah, I mean, only winning a quarter of your rounds in the second half means that you need to be putting up astronomically good
like
first halves.
10-2 minimum to be winning.
Yeah, and they just aren't. They're putting up great first halves.
every time for
Dude, Laz is dominating these first halves. They're going up 8-4, and they're still almost letting it slip away. That must be so tough for them down there, knowing that their year could come to a close, that their chances of being able to get on a podium would be slipping away.
And you just cannot rely on that. You cannot trust Laz to ace to close out these games every single time.
No, you should. It's not, like, yes, he is the ace of the team for sure.
He's great, but it's just you cannot rely on it every single time. The best player in the world cannot do that every single time. This team needs consistency, and they just have not been showing it in those second halves. They need to fix this mental block.
I was going to say, though, you talk about consistency, but when you think about consistent, the lurks for Sugar Zero Sideshow have been ridiculous. This man has been instrumental in the mid-rounds for this team.
Yeah, and that's what's crazy, actually, is that you've got Laz and Sugar Zero still playing up to their absolute world-class peaks, I would say, honestly.
Yeah.
And yet there's still the team aspect is falling to pieces. But Sugar Zero has given you moments all over the place. On his attack side, the way that he was working his way into weird spots and finding kills on people just completely unexpectedly, doing it on the opposite half as well, has been spectacular. Their players are performing well, and that's what's worrying, honestly, because if it was one player that wasn't turning up, you can point at that player and be like, okay, they need to have a big step up performance as you head into Fracture, you know where the pressure is. But it's not the case. The team is actually on an individual level playing quite well, but the mental aspect is just getting to them. Maybe the fact that they clutched Pearl towards the end, though, will give them that added bonus, the relief, the pressure off their chest heading into Fracture. They know they can win here. They've won here before.
I honestly have been blown away by both of these teams in this series. I think, you know, credit to Zeta, keeping the mental in check, right? Really pulling away a victory when they absolutely had to, Mimi. But for Boom, when they see an opportunity, they latch onto it like a spider monkey. They don't let go. And that's part of the reason why you see the score lines the way that they are right now. Those leads being given up by Zeta, and Boom's more than okay to take that away from them.
Yeah, as much as it is Zeta struggling in these second halves, it's Boom who is been able to rally in such a big way for this team. They kind of start out, and I think on that Pearl map in particular, we're looking pretty rough. They rally in the second, though, and adapt on the fly. This team has been very good at making those changes and capitalizing off of these mistakes we've been talking about for Zeta.
Yeah. On Fracture, all of those different pieces are going to be coming back together. They're playing the Depth Neon. They need to be following up on the space that he's creating in ways that they were struggling with on Haven on our first map. They also need to keep their mental game in check. You saw the coach there giving them that rallying speech as they've got everybody together. And I think for our audience as well, you probably have never faced that kind of pressure before. I'm not sure I've ever faced the kind of pressure before that they've been under whilst playing here, with your tournament life on the line, your reputations on the line, heading into next year, thinking about all of the challenges that that's going to pose and proving yourself. And it all just weighs on you. And as the rounds slip away, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. You could feel things slipping. That is such a task to keep it under wraps.
Yeah, and on the other side, you have seen that Boom has stayed focused. They have stayed in it. They've already proved that they can compete against top-level teams and look good. This team has far lower pressures heading into this final map. Obviously, they want to survive. Obviously, they want to prove themselves, but it's not to the same level that the pressure is being applied to Zeta.
Yeah, they want to accomplish a big feat for their region, for Indonesia, right?
Yeah.
Win a game on the international stage would be massive for them. We saw the capabilities of Boom in that Optic game, and heck, we've been seeing it here as well. And if it wasn't really for the Herculean efforts there from Laz at the end, needing to literally hold the line, you know, I would think that we probably would be in an overtime right now, and I kind of like Boom's chances in those scenarios.
Definitely, and that's the thing. It is just one big play away from Boom being able to steal it at any moment. And think about this. What if the first halves weren't as dominant? You know, what if Boom actually come out the gate swinging on Fracture and bring the heat to Zeta Division at the start? There's so many different ways that this map 3 can go. And I think for Boom, even though they lost map 2, their mental should be in a good spot. They're bringing it against a team that everyone was expecting. GB, we ran the poll at the beginning of the day, and people were not giving Boom the time of day.
Not at all. What was it?
Like
4% or 2% or something abysmal.
Yeah, like no one believed that this team was going to do anything other than bomb out of champions. And that's because of the experience difference on show. But I think Boom are doing a great job of proving the doubters wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're taking that criticism, they're taking that non-belief, and they're just using it to power them. The pressure is off of them. They are just, anything they do, any performance that they have that would come out in victory, that is impressive. That is shocking to a lot of people.
And I think that that is going to go some distance as well to helping them forget what happened last time they played Fracture.
Yeah.
Because I thought coming into this final map, if we got here, the conversation would be about, oh, remember how Boom got destroyed against Optic, and it was honestly a little bit embarrassing. I've seen Indonesian fans commenting around being like, how did we allow that to happen on Fracture? It was a joke. But it wasn't. It was just inexperience. And I think now that is not even going to be on their minds. They're not going to be coming into Fracture thinking, oh, Crashy's aced us while we're on a rope. They're going to be thinking, we've got Zeta on the ropes.
Yeah, they never should have even had a chance to get back into that Pearl game. They weaseled their way into it. They snuck through and made that game so incredibly close. History doesn't matter at this point. It's about who stays strong, who stays focused heading into this final map.
That's very true. That is very, very true. But here we go. Prime Gaming Agent Select. Well, let's see what we end up getting here for both of these teams. They both like to run the Neon, at the very least in their last games. That is what they ran with, except Zeta, they did play the Neon Rays last time here, and I do wonder if we see that again from Zeta.
We actually have the mirror matchup of this Neon versus Rays composition. I don't think I've ever seen a game that has come down to a mirror of these two comps. And for Boom, this is something new for them. This is a change off of their defeat to Optic. And just to talk about this comp generally, it's really good on the defense for the trap plays, and it's solid on the attack as well to be able to get in, to find that double dive on through. But the focus is really on the utility combinations. I think it's going to be interesting. With very little time to change, how have they prepped this one up?
Yeah, you say trap plays on defense, but also aggression on defense.
Yeah.
You want to be pushing, fast, aggressive, get some set plays, put pressure on the attackers. And for Famous, as the new player that's on loan to this team, he has an opportunity to carry from Rays.
Yeah, that was a very interesting change up there. Not KO, playing Rays for Famous, but on the other side for Zeta, it's exactly as we've seen from them in the past. They have, or at the very least, what we saw them play against Loud.
Yeah.
So this is going to be the same composition, but in that game, they went 9-13 against Loud.
Yeah, it was a close one, but it was, again, one of these maps where their attacking side absolutely fell apart. They were leaving Depp out on an island. This guy was diving in, and no one was helping him. The coordination was a big issue, and I think in that match, similar to this one, it did also come down to some of that mental when things got deep. Zeta, everything is on the line for them. They need to focus up, keep themselves in this game, no matter the side, no matter the half.
All right, this is it. It's no longer a BO3. It doesn't matter what happened in the past. Doesn't matter you got aced on a rope or someone choked the clutch. This is it. It's a BO1 between two fantastic teams. Zeta Division, Boom Esports. Winner moves on. Loser goes home. Balla, Tug, Dala, over to you.
That was so epic until he called me, like, I think he called me tough.
Dude, I was like, yeah, let's go.
Right? I was fired up, and then he forget about not remembering who messed up the clutch. That was on you, GB. Let's reorient, though, because he was right. As much as he messed it up, he was absolutely right. This is going to be outrageous. There's 13 rounds. 13 rounds away from sending one of these two teams home.
And it could be the bright flame of Zeta Division coming back from Reykjavik in their second international appearance this year. Or it could be Indonesia's finest coming out of LCQ here on Fracture. One final map between these two teams. It's been a lot of whimsy, but it's also been so close.
Zeta's first shot, not landing, and they're gonna push right into sand.
They found my trap.
They're gonna push right into A. Wow, it was a heavy rotation back to B. They had 3 there already, but the rotation comes through. Flipsider finds 1, and he's gonna have 3 on the other side.
He can get back to Dish, no problem. He already took care of the 1 player. 3 players coming through. This could be a battle here in Halls.
A bloodbath, and they're waiting for it. You see the stimmy through. The relay bolts are there. Nobody can see a dang thing because there's so much utility going through. Sugar Zero somehow avoids it, swings out the quick right click, cleans up the kill. And now Laz, once again, left alone. Boom, win the pistol yet again.
5 pistols out of 5 for Boom. Certainly a win condition. But it's just been the same response out of Zeta every opening pistol. Just win the next Thrifty. So much harder to do. And look at that stat. We already mentioned it as well in the series against Optic. 3-0 at the APAC LCQ. They've already lost 1 decider here. But this one for elimination. This one where all the pressure's up. Similar situation to APAC LCQ. It's do or die.
History on both sides clashing and conflicting, as both teams should be favored in these situations, but alas, it's Blaze King who falls first. Berserk waiting on the other side. Again, he was stunned up. The shotgun causes problems. All of those shots are missed, and they continue to go astray. But Flip finally settles the situation.
Flip is 1 shot to a Sheriff in the head.
And guess what?
At any range.
That's what 10 has.
He's got the Boombot too. They're stuck up in tower. He's really expecting them to try to call an audible. Hoping that they're expecting him to look at this tower angle and take the fight.
Neither team wanting to make a move.
And don't forget, at any point, once they try to plant, 10 could sneak up that rope and try to find a 1v1. It's so hard to cover the plant and hold tower at the same time here.
It's been 20 seconds since since any player has moved. Now Flipsider goes forward. 10 choosing to take the low ground, and the Sheriff shots don't land.
Finally, a 2-0 start from Boom. They've been 3 for 3 on those opening pistols, but this is the first time they come out to this strong lead. And it almost still went in the way of Zeta.
What a mess that was.
Beautiful stun from to Bottle to help Flip there in that corner. Up in tower to clear out the 2 rats.
Heavy lean towards A this time around. You see they're all stacked that way.
And note, there's no actual similar style of bonus. They all have Spectres and 10's challenging with the stun.
And they're all stunned up, and now they're all flashed, and now they're all dying.
Spike down
A 3v2 in favor of Zeta, as they keep them back long enough for the reinforcements to arrive. The spike is still behind them.
Farming ult Torbs at this point. A great anti-bonus from Zeta.
So well played, and it was all set up off of the breach utility.
But you could also see the clash of both of these comps. It's the same comp. On attack, you have to play super bursty, super fast. If you don't, you lose a lot. Depth certainly just hurt him, both of them at the same time.
I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I wouldn't go on that rope ever again.
Come on now.
Tebetol left in this 1v3 with 70 HP. And he's in a position where he can at least get a 1v1, but Depp was tucked away the whole time.
Super clean. And that's 10 too. He struggled very, very hard on this race against Loud. Keep mentioning the opening duel stats for him. They were abysmal. This series so far has been much better. but still not at the levels that you need for an entry player. Thankfully, Depp, who's playing the Neon for Zeta right now, is fantastic in those situations. But he just doesn't take them as much.
And remember, it was their defensive side that looked good last time we saw them on Fracture. Wise out from Boom Esports here, expecting the fault line at the very beginning of the round. They let that pass, and now they reaggress, or at least consider it a smoke, and Arumba's going to keep him back for now.
Some utility spent to keep him back, though.
That's true. Very good point.
And so if you don't have the utility to respond when these executes happen, remember, attack side hasn't really used much at all.
Yeah. Off of that, Sugar Zero has 2 smokes left.
But the interesting part is it's not Laz all by himself. Everybody's on this site.
But Laz will be first. And he doesn't find anything. Depp does, though. He puts a wall up to provide some cover, and Sugar Zero was behind him the entire time.
And it's patience from him, too. Puts down the smoke that Flip wants to come through. It's too clean from Sugar Zero, finding the timing through the smoke. Such a nasty combination. That one piece of utility, synonymous with his style.
Look at him, just pushing through and finding the timing. Unreal. Unreal play.
And while they might not have put together the Thrifty, they immediately tie the game.
Yep.
They immediately force the economy down from Boom Esports.
You want to play?
They immediately
Let's
have a
play.
chance to start ramping up the rounds like they have every other half.
It's interesting, they have not gone for that aggressive hit down ramps, but they have explored this area of the map a couple of times. You've got to be careful. Their players just on the other side of the box.
That might have looked super weird, but 10 was trying to hold the underpass while the rest of his team was holding his back. So double clearing the very dangerous angle late into arcade without tree control. Flip could have been there. Instead, he tried to punish them as they fall back out of arcade, but it's Sugar Zero to respond with a smoke. So a well-handled anti-eco so far.
Flip still has his tour de force, though. And again, a quiet moment amidst the chaos, amidst the pace.
Teleport's ready.
And there's the first challenge, and there was the real big key that they had, the real big tool they had. And it amounts to nothing. A Prime Gaming Flawless comes through as Zeta take the lead.
Go, go, go.
Lose it early and snatch it right back every single time. First half on Haven, first half on Pearl. It's a good recovery from 10 after maybe going a little too deep on that while he's clearing.
Enemy remaining.
Depp as well. Look at Flipsider calling out exactly what to do here. Very, very active on the comms, but they swapped again. Zeta Division being a little unpredictable here. Laz alone on the B site, the rest of his team here. They controlled halls very well against Loud.
Yeah, they did. Oh boy, here we go. Orbital strike, but they're gonna get past it. The showstopper there too. Oh, and 10, including himself, gets the kill. Both showstoppers used, the orbital strike used, and somehow Zeta still have 2 ults to work with.
Blaze King just got his own ult though. But the big issue here, Laz is flanking. They're gonna double take halls with him and Depp.
And Blaze is still tucked in here, right? It's not like he can reposition and play around the orbital strike. He is the line of defense. And now he's outnumbered. They're infesting the Rolling Thunder here too.
Very nice.
Blaze stunned and Blaze dead.
Safety ult. Round ending ult.
Yeah, and early enough to where there's a good chance you get another one back, sure.
Very, very nicely done. Again, such a good hold from Zeta. Sugar Zero and 10, the first line of defense. Remember how hard they're fighting for that Hall's position. Here's the ult. We didn't see it, but somehow the hit was split because they were coming from Dish. And he shoots it at the ground. Confirms the kill at least.
That was crazy. Through two.
This is a 1 round XQQ.
It's gonna have a heart attack. Flipsider pushed through that smoke as 10 was satcheling through.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I mean, minuscule timings here. Timeout through for Boom Esports. Again, early to find themselves down, but while this could have been potentially disastrous for another team in this situation, this is just comfort at this point.
Yep. This is business as usual. This timeout definitely coming early here for Boom, compared to recently, compared to the other games we have so far. They don't want to let the same situation happen.
Yeah.
Because even when they clapped back early on Pearl, even when they tied it up at 8-8, Zeta still was able to maintain and hold on.
4-2 lead here early. Depp popping off. Sugar Zero is doing a bit of the same. And while the rest of the team may be a bit more quiet, the truth is they are playing very well as a unit.
Yeah. And Laz hasn't gotten online either. That's the thing.
He hasn't really been called upon a lot.
You aren't calling upon him. There was the one round there where they did hit B. Sure. He was with his teammate.
Yeah.
This time again, a different setup. 10 alone over towards B. And it's fast. TPing out is Flip, but will he make it out on the rope? No.
He was stunned up. He was outnumbered. He was pressured. And there's Laz. You just called his name.
And he gets the other tag too.
Yep.
10 all alone. Still maintains the frag on this bottom.
What a crunch, man.
There's just no chance when you throw so many bodies at the play.
Back to back, I believe. Prime Gaming Flawless is coming through.
Solid from Zeta, all since they started winning. Since they won that anti-bonus. Here's the push. That follow-up stun as well from Kuro is so good, because Flip definitely has a chance when Depp is super fast like that. And 10 holding all by himself, no problem, given he knows his team's coming back through arcade. The gamble pushes are just not working out for Boom. It's consistently the wrong site. Here we go, though.
Well.
This one is the right site. Dapp's alone.
Oh, and he's stunned now. Sliding across the screen is Berserk. And with that, there comes a kill. But you've got to keep an eye on the flank. Look at how they're pressuring around. There's no alarm bot. It's just Flipsider who's here to cover. The utility to try to keep the spike off. Flipsider's been taken care of, and Blaze King wasn't able to get away from it.
He tried to avoid the damage at the distance, but you got to be careful here. This flank again from Tabata gets taken care of immediately from 10. Oh, they're getting ripped apart. Just ripped apart.
And the one nice thing is here, at least they got the spike down, but you're right. Man, they've struggled so much. Unless Famous can do something here in a 1v3. 10 is weak, but he's just going to hold it. The spam through is not going to cause any problems. He had to hesitate using a Vandal. He knew he'd get traded right back.
He was hoping as well for that smoke to fade at some point.
Yeah.
Those just last so long. 6-2, the lead is expanding again. The lifeblood of Boom Esports is playing from behind. But these rounds have been clinical. You mentioned the 2 Prime Gaming Flawlesses that we've seen so far. And it's just stingers here for Boom.
They're going to go fast into Dish. They sent 3 this way, and Laz's tour de force puts one right in between Berserk's eyes.
And you could feel immediately the loss of the KO with this comp. Normally they're playing the Optic comp. That could have been such a boon against Laz when he goes for these Dish plays, because he can't TP out.
Yeah, exactly. And even if you don't get the kill, you at least understand where he is if you choose to push away from him, but no. He's been given free reign. Again, Boom managed to get the spike down.
They've got to take care of Blaze King here. He's got the ult, he's got a Molly as well. They could play post plant pretty well, but they're taking control of halls immediately.
Swing out from 10, the flash is there. And somehow through that, Famous still finds one, but you're right, you still haven't taken care of Blaze King. I don't think they know where he is. They've got to be looking for him frantically to find out where he is. Now his position given away. The Sheriff shot's not going to land. He's got a Molly too, but he's not going to be able to challenge the angle. As Laz cleans him up and 10 gets the defuse.
Since the 3rd round, Zeta has won every single. And now we're at round 10. How often are we going to see this? Do we trust this? Because I want to. I want to believe that they could really just ride the momentum all the way through, but it's always ending up in a blunder. But this one is interesting, guys. Boom. In the first half, are using their second timeout. Things are going very poorly right now for the Indonesians.
And again, it's a position they've been in before, right? Like, this is still not out of reach. That previous round was a pistol round. I think they may have had one stinger. A 7-2 can easily still convert to a 7-5. It's just interesting. There's something, you're right, Paulo. There's something that they're identifying here that suggests that this is well out of control right now.
I wonder if they're already feeling super uncomfortable with the scoreline given the comp. This is one where, I mean, Mimi was talking about the strengths and weaknesses of the comp on both sides. It can be strong on either side, but it really depends on your specific style, your specific flavor of this comp. For example, Zeta's very, very strong right here on their defense, and we already saw that against Loud. But when they swapped over to attack, it was such a night and day difference between them running this comp and EDG going through. What?
Yeah, he is.
They're expecting the fast push on A, and they're going to be here just as they get the spike to be planted.
Can they challenge? Can they take care of the flank? Can they hold them back?
There's nobody paying attention right now.
Oh, they've heard them, though. The jumping, the Roomba.
That Roomba gives false information!
No way! No way! Blaze King gets 2 from a tucked corner. False sense of security off of the Roomba, and it's turned into a 2v2. The spike has been planted, but they're fighting in spawn. And it's down to a 1v1. The orbital strike used.
And it's planted for spawn. It's planted in the front of the site here. Flip definitely has a chance.
He doesn't have an op. He's just going to have to stand through. Surely not.
Damage done.
Sugar Zero holds it! Oh, and they didn't get the op. I don't think they reached it.
It was so deep into spawn.
That could be backbreaking.
No chance. They still have plenty of money here. The loss bonus is so strong. The ults are so strong.
How does that room? Oh my goodness, the Roomba.
They just don't expect somebody to still hold that corner. He's holding for the door.
That shot from Laz was
that save. I mean, if they have 2 guys spamming down Sugar Zero right now, there's just no chance he holds that defuse.
And again, the same aggressive look like we saw in the previous round. I feel like we literally just saw this, but this time Sugar Zero challenging.
They know they're behind 2. The stuns are coming in at an insane pace.
Deb has ult. 10 has ult. Deb's going north.
And 10 can ult through this by himself. He's not fearful of this, and there's going to be a massive 3-way pinch.
He has 2 satchels, too. This time the Roomba clearing out the cubby. Oh, and the Rolling Thunder goes his way. There it is. There's his ult. 10 with 1 satchel goes across. He still has another to work with. And it's going to land right. Oh, it didn't kill him. But Zeta get the kills anyway.
Where's Tabata? Can you find him? Can you find him? Can he still convert this?
What utility does he have? He has a fault line.
Can't scope the op anymore.
Push him off. Oh, they've gotten off of it. They've gotten off of it, and Depp gets a 3rd kill and the defuse.
It almost got off there for a second. They want to transfer it to Laz. Oh my goodness. Is the pace just gone full to the moon?
What have these last few rounds been, bro?
Look at that wall and the fast retake from Dish here from Depp. That was a great push. We were focused on the Hall's play. By 10 with his ult. But that, honestly, didn't even get the kill Sand. He had to follow up with his weapon.
Yeah.
They're just not paying attention. They don't realize how hard you can respond in kind with this speed, with this tempo.
You want to play? Let's play.
Just fast against fast. And there's a little bit more. Laz peeks into the fast lane, and now you hear the counter ult from Berserk used. He's fully taken tower. There's no one that's going to challenge him. Once again, it's going to be an insane retake fight. They have 3 members in spawn. Laz, one of them, pushing forward. A member just on the other side of the smoke, and Blaze got a little too froggy with it. Tried peeking a bit too far. Famous does too. This round looks dire for Boom. The flash there, the kill onto Berserk 2.
What a good nade from 10 as well.
Very well played, and yeah, they can try to keep the delay around the post plant. But there are only so many tricks in that bag.
Oh, wait.
There are only so many tricks in the bag!
Oh!
The trick is Flipsider! Demetal, 1v1, it's gotten to half. Laz tries to hold it, pulls off, and gets the kill!
It's a roller coaster! Back and forth! And that's how we end the half. Laz with the clutch again. And Zeta has ballooned their lead farther than they ever have before with a 10-2.
Let's look at that one more time. Because Flipsider was a proper menace. Unbelievable. Oh, to come so close and to still be so far.
No timeouts either the second half.
No. They were all burned early. We'll throw it down to the desk.
Oh my word. Laz with a big 1v1 to get the dub at the end there. 10-2, but guys, I don't know. I feel like we've seen this song and that.
No, Golden Boy, no. This one is an unthrowable lead. 10-2 up at the half. The game is over. The game is... Zeta
You've
Division...
said that before.
You willing to put stakes?
No,
Willing
Zeta
to put
Division
stakes?
cannot throw a 10-2 lead.
Stakes.
Nope, it's simple. The stakes are that Zeta Division will go home if they throw the lead.
Stakes for you if you get this wrong.
The stakes
He
for me
becomes
could not
Balder.
be higher.
He becomes Balder. Oh my goodness gracious. Well, let's just take a look back and, you know, at the Neon battle here, Mimi, because Depp has definitely stepped up in this role on Fracture.
Yeah, he really has. I mean, this head-to-head is between the two compositions. It is exactly the same, and they are both defined by what your Neon can do in these opening gambits, and thus far, Depp has just been pounding in that regard. Berserks has been absolutely unable to get anything going just because of the sheer amount of pressure that Zeta Vision is putting on this defensive side. 10 rounds in a row.
Yeah, Zeta always are setting the tempo. They're always being able to get into positions where, you know, sometimes Berserks it feels like he's executing, but actually he's been funneled into the A site because they've lost all the rest of the map. And this is a really nice one too. The amount of pressure coming down from Depth with the stuns, and then Sugar Zero pushing through the smoke at the exact right time.
Yeah, it's absolutely perfect. And now if you're on Boom Esports and you're looking towards this second half, you say it's completely unbeatable. 10-2, it's over. But there is always that chance that they can make something happen. And they need to hold their ground. They need to buy the time in the same way that Zeta Division did to have a chance even. It's the same comp, it's the same win condition.
If Boom come back, I don't want to live in this world. I need to get out into a different... I need to get a different branch of the multiverse going on.
Okay.
Because Zeta Division have been in spots like this before. This would just be a gargantuan
Okay, I got it.
task for
Wait,
Boom.
I got it. If Boom comes back and wins this game, Sideshow just agreed to this, we will get the Boom logo spray painted on his bald head. You heard it here first. He agreed to it. Doug Bala, is this possible?
Him getting something tattooed on his head. I heard you say spray painted, but it was actually tattooed. Yes, definitely. We'll see. Zeta with a comfortable lead here, 10 rounds in a row. The padding that they have, the room for error that they have has never been bigger.
No, this is so insurmountable from Boom. And I want to bring it back again to the fact that they don't have any timeouts here. They had the chance here at halftime to really get their thoughts together, but hopefully those thoughts are enough to take them through, because what a tall task. It's been a wonderful time here for Boom so far. We've definitely been introduced to a new team that I want to see again. But this challenge is far too much.
Can they rewrite what seems like an obituary right now? It does not look good. Remember, Laz popped off map 1, devastated and dejected that they lost it. Carries his team through map 2 and now finds openers on map 3. This very well may be the finishing touches, Bala. Josh's bald head may be safe for one more day.
And I mean, the only chance they had was to win the pistol. The one pistol they lose is when they need it the most.
A Prime Gaming Flawless comes through. I believe that's the third of the map for Zeta, as it's an 11-2 lead. And their first pistol win.
Unbelievable. Shots from Laz too. And the fact that he's continuing his form from every single map is so impressive. He truly is the Terminator. The way he put them down on Pearl.
Again, that headhunter set up. Look, that hit coming in though. Flipsider showing he can use that headhunter just as well. He's able to clean up one. The flank is going to be coming in from the southern side of the map. You see the breach utility trying to deny the plant, but Sugar Zero gets it down.
Guys, they're all in here on this round.
Yes, they are. I mean, you've got nothing else to play for. You've got to convert it here. My goodness, what a shot. Tebetol still only has the Sheriff, and he's now left alone. 10 is weak, and 10 doesn't care. Zeta series point.
10 rounds in a row. It's something that I don't think a global tournament has ever seen. It is such a ridiculous ask. And you could see and hear and feel it slip away from them when they called that second timeout in the first half. Boom. Moments away from being eliminated. Zeta, moments away from getting their chance at a rematch against Loud to make it out of the groups and make it to playoffs.
Ten again, pushing forward. Oh my goodness, everyone is there. They've somehow found enough to buy a bit more, and the gun's just not finding enough. The judge from Famous perhaps waits on the other side of the door, looking for something to change into, and no, it was just the judge. Flipsider and Blaze King left alone, staring down the barrel of elimination here at Champs. All the way out in Istanbul. Laz holding the angle. Blaze on the peak. Flipsider below him. And he's got a Guardian. If he can slip in quietly, he may have something to do here. Oh, he got one. It's a 2v2 here. Flipsider, the leader, again, outnumbered, outgunned, and down. Zeta take the right cross that Boom throw their way and deliver a knockout punch of their own.
A roller coaster of a series in what at the tail end of Pearl we thought could have been a bitter burnout to Zeta's bright flame, but it continues. One more chance here in groups to give them another lease at life in playoffs.
What a performance. Again, man, this was just a couple of hours ago that Laz didn't want to get up from his seat. Remember, it was XQQ who had to go back to him to lift his spirits up because he was wearing the loss. You know, we often talk about grit, but that has to be probably the grittiest performance I've seen.
That was tenacity from Laz and so much more too. Sugar Zero showing up on map number 2. And you could feel it on so many different levels. It was